yourself for this.
Hey,
Hey, sister, how are you today?
I'm good. Happy Monday. We made
Yeah,
it.
we sure did.
We
I
made
love
it.
it.
Yes, we matching with our denim jackets. Who we think we are?
Holiness, modest, fashionista.
Modesty.
That's
Yes.
right. Yes.
Greetings to everyone in the chat. Hi, Shelly House. You are the first one here. And then Paulette came through, show her love in the chat. Greetings. And Goyo. Hey, Goyo. Yes, so y'all are here. I'm gonna go ahead and do the intro to the show. I want to say hey and welcome back to EFP Media. As you can see, I am joined by my beautiful sister, Life with Paulette. She has her own YouTube channel called Life with Paulette on YouTube, and I am so excited to be joined with her to do this topic. It was actually one of our first conversations where we were like really talking and kind of bonded over the conversation of clothes. When she came over to the channel one day, I was going live and I think I was in the kitchen cooking or doing something. And she had some questions about modesty according to our faith and our wardrobe. Not questions about modesty, but more so our wardrobe. So today we're going to be diving into one of our favorite topics, which is fashion, but we're going to be talking more about it from a modesty perspective now that both of us are in holiness. But as we are talking, I would love for you all to stay on topic in the chat box. You can ask your questions, you can give suggestions, you can give your feedback, what you love to wear, what you don't like to wear, what were some of the hardest things for you. And then at the end of the show, we're going to open up the panel to allow people to come on and have a conversation about modest fashion. Okay. The conversation today is modesty, making it stylish, and also covering your body out of respect for yourself. So, as we get into the topic, Paulette, how are you today?
I am blessed and highly favored. I am doing great. I'm telling you. It's
Good.
early here. It's 1:47 in Hawaii. And the sun is hot. So if y'all see me, sweating a little bit, y'all know it's caliente over here.
Yeah, yeah. It's what 7:47 here on the east.
Woo!
And look, the day is coming down to a close over here. So we are in two different hemispheres, two
Definitely.
different climates. Is it humid in Hawaii or is it more like a dry heat?
It's like a little mixture of dry heat, depending on when summer hits in, like when you start getting in the 90s, the humidity will kick in even more, but it's more like a little dry, hot heat over here, with a
Yeah,
little breeze.
with a little breeze. It's a
With a little
beautiful place
breeze.
to live.
Yes, it is. Yes, it
Yeah,
is. You all have to come and visit one day.
we coming. We coming. We are definitely coming. So as most of you can see, Paulette is streaming on her channel, so the content could be posted on her channel afterwards. However, if you want to engage in the chat, we wanted the chat to be in one place. So we have the chat over here on EFP Media. So if you want to just support and watch it on Paulette's channel, you definitely can. However, if you have questions and want to engage with us, you'll do it on EFP Media. So definitely wanted to put that out there because you are seeing the same stream on both channels. And this is our first time doing something like this. So I'm actually really happy. I'm like, oh, we figured it out and we did it all by ourselves.
Yes, we did. Last minute and everything.
Last minute, literally last minute, had to push the
Yeah,
stream back.
that's right. That's right. But we were on, thank God. Yes, we
Yes,
here.
we are. So, I wanted to kind of just jump into the conversation, especially with you and I have very personal styles, and also with those personal styles, those stories were of us transitioning into holiness. It was more like a culture shock. I could say that for myself. Not knowing, like, I couldn't go to my go-to outfits, which were a pair of jeans and like a nice little top or a blouse and some heels or something. But out of that, now we've kind of expanded and we're growing our wardrobe all over again.
Yes,
For me, I
yes,
don't know about you, but I have to start. I had to start over.
yes. So for me, at the beginning, I started, you know, plugging into holiness and bench watching on the process and what it is, the hows and the knots within it. And once I hit the bylaws and I made a decision in January, hey, I love this. I love the message that's being preached. And I feel all was missing was my transition. And I decided that I was going to declog my closet and basically start over and take out all the leather, those leather skirts and leather jean pants. And, you know, it was a whole bunch of leather. And if you all go back to my videos, you'll see that I tossed away bulk of stuff, but mainly I like relaxed, comfy clothes. So
Yeah.
a little caprice hair. We were in Hawaii, a flip flop, some t-shirts, and probably a hat or not. And you were going by your business throughout the day. So it was a big transition deal to be able to toss out all your stuff. Yes, I do have. Um, I had lots of, my brands was around, and some of them I had to get rid of because, I had the little peaky toes here and the peaky toes there and the heel out there, and a lot of things where you have to make that decision and that choice that, I no longer will be able to continue wearing certain things. And I had to get rid of it. And I just got to that decision and I did that. And thank God we're here today.
Yes, yes, that is nice. So for me, it was similar. I was watching the broadcast. I mean, one thing I love about our faith
Yes.
and our pastor is that, we would never be hungry for a sermon. There's so many out there that we can listen to, but the beautiful thing about that is that, like you said, we could go online, see what they were wearing inside of the church, and kind of see what modesty looked like for the women of the church. And
Mhm.
being that we are in 2025, I love how fashion has kind of taken its course of evolving what modesty really looks like. Because
Yeah.
I was thinking about today, the 90s. Oh my goodness, if we were in the 90s, man, modesty would look boring. And because, like, unless you were a seamstress and you can make your own clothes, but if you really went to the store, a lot of the modesty clothing back then was kind of not like it definitely wasn't as vibrant and fun as it is now. So I'm glad that you shared that, because when I was watching the broadcast and he was, talking about getting rid of your pants and stuff, um, you know, it felt like a high at first. Like, like you're just so on go, and I'm getting rid of all my pants. And, it wasn't until like the 6 month mark where I was like, dang, like I miss wearing jeans. Like, I want my jeans back. I want to wear a skirt that doesn't fall to my knees. I want to wear shorts. I want to, I'm working hard on this body. I want to, like, I want to show like my biceps, like,
Yeah.
like, your arms. Yes, like you working hard, and your legs,
Uh-huh.
and like them calf muscles and all of that stuff. And I say that to say, in holiness, we cover up our nakedness. So we try not to disclose any parts of our bodies that could,
Mhm.
potentially be a stumbling block for our brother. And so, with that being said, when you were getting rid of all of your clothes, like, or when you were going through your closet and going through these different things, like, what was the emotion that you felt bagging up those clothes in that video?
For me, honestly, and I mentioned this on my YouTube channel as well, is that I was cool with it. It was fun because I was already prepping myself years ago. And it's not an easy transition when you're deciding to do your holiness walk to say one day to the next, hey guys, I'm just going to throw away everything I have and we're going to figure out, maybe bring in Timu or on Sheen and let's go shopping again. Like, everybody is going to be at a different level. For me, I had already made a decision like 5 years prior, but it took about that for me to get to the point of, you know, decreasing one thing and not caring about this thing and decreasing the other thing. Like, I used to wear jeans. I love jeans. And sis, I love me a jean and it's gonna cost some coins. So,
Yes.
my jeans, I look at my jeans, I'm like, oh, I like you, I like you, I like you. And I got to the opportunity to say, okay, I don't like you anymore. I can't wear you because it's either you or me. We gonna choose here. So I had to set them aside and get rid of those. But it took a minute for me watching my jeans. I'm not gonna lie. For a minute in my closet, my jeans to January to get to that decision to say, okay, we're done. I'm over it. Let's
Really?
go. No,
Did
I'm
you
seriously.
so
It took
did
it.
you Oh, I was going
Sorry.
to ask a question. Go ahead. I'm
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, no, you go ahead,
No, no,
girl.
no.
Because
I was going to ask did you ever consider turning your jeans into skirts?
I've never thought of that, but I still have four jeans in my closet. Like they're well, I see you, I can't wear anymore, but they're reminders. We have things that we put up like a little, okay, I guess it ain't supposed to do so, but they're expensive jeans. So I'm like
Yeah.
looking at it and I'm like, my mom is a seamstress and I'm going to wait for her to come visit so she could cut it out and make a nice little cute little something and figure out how we're going to work it or turn my jeans into something for my daughter, make a nice little skirt for her or, they can still fit in and she could figure out how she's going to use it. But I could transition that in. That's a great idea too. I like that. Look at
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
So
and you
you
can
took
get your you can what I'm saying, because like when you split it, there may be a part where you might put what's called, like, it would be like a slit for some other skirts, but you could put a different material there to kind of mismatch it or whatever. But I was just thinking
girl.
about that, and that wasn't my idea. That came from one of the sisters in the temple I attend. She got up and she testified, and first of all, when she comes into that church, oh my goodness, I love to
Wow.
see what she's wearing today. I just
Nice.
love to see her walk in. She has these very beautiful, her locks are thicker than mine's. As
Mhm.
far as size, they're a little bigger,
Yeah.
but she always keeps her hair up. She has a nice head tie. She comes in with her designer, but it matches, like,
Nice.
her designer bag is with her shoe, and she's
Mhm.
always well put together. And she's
Yeah.
testified, and she was saying that getting, like you said, you pay good money for your clothes. And
Mhm.
sometimes people can be, I think people have different viewpoints on that, and
Mhm.
I agree with you that when you pay good money for your things, I'm not, call it what you want, I'm not going to just throw it away or
Mhm.
give it away.
Mhm.
Like, I might sell it.
Yeah.
And we can't live in a world where we're like, oh no, because what's it called, what did I say, are you, like, what do they say if you condoning sin or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't look at it that way, because that's the
Mhm.
case, I wouldn't be able to do nothing in this world. You
Yes,
know what I
I know.
mean? Like, I wouldn't be able, like, I think you and I were talking about this, but I wouldn't even be able to pump gas if the gas station is owned by a center. I wouldn't be able to buy shoes by Nike, which is owned by a group of people. I wouldn't be
Thank you.
able to, I don't know who made this scarf. You see what I'm saying? So when I spend my money and give my money to these corporations and these people,
We
I
don't
don't know
know.
what their beliefs are.
Mhm.
So when people have that mindset of saying, "Oh, well, I wouldn't resell my items because that's strengthening in the hands of evildoers." Well, how do you even exist into the world? Because everything in the world is, influenced by someone.
Exactly. Great point. I like that point that you pointed out there because, you know, when it comes to fashion and brands, I feel like even in holiness, I don't see anything wrong with it if you could afford it. Now, if you can't
So,
afford a pair of Gucci's or Louboutins or any type of brands, then I respect that. I don't have nothing to say. But if somebody can afford it and they go and they purchase it, it should be respected too because they're not like, they have their household together, they'll have a little extra money and they want to be able to invest that in something that's going to last a little
mhm.
longer. The
Yeah,
reason why most people will decide to go and buy a brand is because the brands last a little bit longer than the fast fashion.
there
So
you
I
go.
could drop off at Temu 24/7 and yeah, I'm going to get $100 worth of stuff that's going to last for like 3 days or maybe a wash. After a
Mhm.
wash, you can forget about it. It's
That's
either
it.
shrink, it
Forget
ripped, it's the color is gone, and
Yeah,
it's cool and everything, but if I could invest a little few more dollars in something that's going to last me for years, then I highly recommend you to go and you do so, especially during your scarf moments. You don't want something that is not quite durable and then all of a sudden you have to buy it again. You spend more money that way, guys.
yes, you
So
do.
great point, Steve.
Yes, you do. I wholeheartedly agree. I
Mhm,
wholeheartedly agree. And that's what I always felt like. If you can afford it, get what you want. Get what you want. As
mhm.
long as if you can afford it, get what you want. And
Yeah,
if you can't afford it, don't talk down on someone who can, because everyone has their
that's
struggles,
correct.
right? So there's a journey that got them to a place to be able to afford this. And one
Mhm,
thing that when I was new to holiness and reaching out to my cousin for feedback and stuff, one of the things that he taught, well, yeah, I could say he taught me because he's a male, he could teach, right? But but one of the things he shared, I think that's better suited, is that
mhm,
it's the intent behind what you're doing, and then it's
mhm.
also uh the Lord blesses us, so he
Yeah,
will bless you with things. It's about your heart posture when he blesses you. So
mhm,
I think that was the thing. And even when I got the car that I wanted, and I can afford it, and I haven't went a day with saying, "Oh, because I got this, I can't afford to eat today." Like, it's never been that situation. But the point is that I realized that certain gifts that comes from the Lord, you're never going to have to worry about providing for
mhm.
that thing, or even
Yes.
attracting that thing, or having, let me not use the word attraction, but having that thing in your life, because he wants you to have it. Now, I know when the adversary gives us gifts, you might be struggling to keep that thing. And,
Yeah.
like, you might be a couple of payments behind. Now, who gave you that gift now? You know?
Yep, yep, yep.
So I know that's
Definitely.
not the topic, but because we are talking about fashion, and
Mhm,
I feel like fashion is one of those things where, like you just mentioned, you can get you fast fashion or you can get you quality materials. Like, this
mhm,
is a Levi jacket. I've had this jacket for over 10 years and it still
mhm.
fits, it still feels good. And I think the longer that I've had it, it even feels a little bit more comfortable on me.
Yeah.
But some of the things that you have been able to acquire in your life, through fashion, where did that start from you? Have you always been someone who, looked at the magazines, or were you just, lived a good life where you could go into, Louis Vuitton or Chanel, wherever your favorite place was? Have you always been that type to kind of be able to go into the store and just get what you want?
Um, I must say that I've never lacked for stuff. I always have had that free. And then when I got married, my topic yesterday, but was it was the same. My mom and my dad told my husband, he's like, my daughter is okay here. And remind, you're gonna take her from me, make sure she's okay. And he surely did what they said or they asked. And we're going on 24 years happily married. And I've it's all a thought process. If you think you can't have it or you shouldn't have it, then kudos to you. And if you think, listen, the sky's the limit, and I feel like I can have it because I can afford it, then go for it. But it shouldn't be where I have to dim my light to make you feel or shine because you can't have it. I mean, am I wrong for having it? It's the hows and the have not. It's that's the only thing. Sometimes, you listen in and everybody's like, you're supposed to be or feel like you're poor, you can't have this. And I'm like, I'm in holiness. I don't feel like I need to
Oof.
not have if I could have, I like to make sure that I invested in good stuff, but it was not everything that I always wanted. I pray about it and God always granted me my prayer, so I may not have it right then, but it takes some time and it will always come because we were always the type of thought process persons where we think about something, we work on it, we pray about it, and it just happened. While I was not in holiness, that was happening. I move into holiness, and it's the same process. It's the law. Is that law? You put the work in, and God is going to bless if you can handle it. If you can't handle it, then you may not get it right then. And the
Right.
poor will be with us always. That's one thing I had
Yeah.
to keep telling myself. So
Yeah.
I didn't
That
say
don't
it.
mean you gotta be
The
poor.
scripture said it.
That don't mean
you
you gotta
know.
be poor though, okay? But that's something that, as we are talking as we were talking about modesty, and one thing about being modest is having humility. And the thing is that sometimes, you could get you nice, good, classic pieces and no one has to know how much it costs, because you're not doing it from a place of arrogance. You're doing it from a place of self-expression, and that was a particular item that you wanted. So it kind of goes into me
Yes,
thinking about
sister,
some.
internet is buffering.
My internet is buffering.
Yeah, it was buffering a little bit.
Oh, maybe I need to close one of these tabs.
It's good now. It's good now.
Okay. Um, Okay, so with that, I have a couple of questions that we both can answer to kind of get the conversation going. I also wanted to kind of just, have a conversation about modesty and being in fashion. So there's
Mhm.
some questions we can ask, and those of you that's listening in the live chat, you guys can jump down in the comments in the live and share your input on the questions, or share your input on what we're talking about. Just be respectful, all in all. So, Paulette, I'm gonna let you go first. When did you first fall in love with fashion, and what influenced your style growing up?
Oh my goodness, that's a good one. Well, I had two older sisters, and my sister, Michelle and Carmen, I would always look at them, and they had their own little simple, comfy fashion. Now, mind you, the household that we did come from, we also had to dress, a certain way. We couldn't just go all out there because my grandmother was very like strict. However, though, Michelle was the one that always will be on the edge, meaning she's going to wear her little shorts, even if it was forbidden. And I think I captured some of her fashion mixed with my older sister fashion that did follow the rules. And that's where I got mine from. So I'm in between, a little classy, a little little something here and there, and that's where I came up from, you know. But I don't need to be all flashy. I could be in between, a little preppiness sometime, you know, little mixture. And at the end of the day, that's where I got my fashion from my own sisters. They enjoyed it. So I just got
Yes.
used to it. And I was the baby girl. So what? Everything,
Yeah,
the
of
handbag, I
course.
couldn't wait. I couldn't wait for them to say, now it's your turn, Paulette. You can fit it, you can use it. I said, oh yeah. I got that thing. And my sisters always made sure that I was taken care of when it came to any occasion. They were making sure that I was had the right pieces and the colors. And that's how I got so colorful within my fashion that I can just grab this, that, and boom. And I'm like, oh, that's good. My niece be like, how do you how did you that don't look like that's gonna match? And I put it on like, oh my gosh, auntie, you dress. I'm like, I learned from my sisters, that's how they dress, and I got it.
Yeah. That's good. Well, first of all, you're lucky. I was about to say that's awesome because I'm the oldest. So there was no one for me to go off of. I to answer that, when did I fall in love with fashion? I would say maybe around 13, I started noticing the Vogue magazine, the September issue. And I'm a fall baby. I was born in October. So fall is like one of my favorite seasons. And it's actually
Beautiful
one of my,
brown.
yes. And I love autumn fashion. Like I love the fall, winter. And that's when Fashion Week is taking place. So,
Girl, tell me about it.
yeah. So, started there, and I would always like just started collecting the September issue of Vogue. And that was, for those of you that may not be familiar, the September issue of Vogue is when like they pull out all the stops when it comes to like the fashion for the upcoming fall and winter and spring of the upcoming year. And
Upcoming
that
seasons.
yes, what you say?
I said upcoming seasons, they'll
Oh
give it to
yes.
you beforehand.
Yes, yes. So it'll start in September, and then you will have that current season, and then like Paulette just said, the upcoming seasons. So you would know what was going to be on trend, what was happening. This is before the world of social media. Now we can just kind of go on social media and see what's in by what the collective is buying. So at
Mhm.
that time, I would say about 13. And what influenced my style growing up? Well, first of all, I'm a millennial. So watching people like Sierra, how she would dress back in the day with, like her, y'all don't judge me now, I'm Holiness now, but the crop tops with the capris jeans, and the belt buckles. And who else was somebody that I admire? I really did like the fashion that was in the movie Love Don't Cost a Thing with Nick Cannon and Christina Milian. The
Oh,
If anyone has ever seen that movie, the fashion in that really captures the 2000s. And that was when I got my little outfits from. So like how Christina and her friends were dressed in that movie, that's where I got my inspiration from, like the braids, all of that. Started there. So like I said, I'm a millennial, and that movie was one of the movies where I feel like they really captured what was on trend, what was trendy at that time for that generation. And those would be the influences that I had growing up. And I wanted to go ahead before we get any further and the chat gets behind. I wanted to go ahead and say thank you, Goyo. You said this is a good topic. We appreciate that. Greetings to you, Sister Mercy Carr, and greetings to you, the great. What you doing? Listening in the background.
time the gray.
Hey, the great. He says, ladies, I love this and admire you both for doing this live on this topic. Much, much respect. Thank you so much, the great. We appreciate it.
Thank you, girl.
Shelly has a few questions in here. Oh, before I get to, well, Shelly don't have questions. She has statements. But Bob
She got her
T.
pieces out.
Yes, she got. Oh, Shelly got something to say now.
All
But
right, Sister
it's all
Shelley.
in good. Yes. Bob T says, Greetings, brothers and sisters. Greetings to you, Bob T.
Greetings, Property.
Bless. She says, I used to love jeans and leggings, child. Me
I
too.
remember those days, girl.
Yes,
Mm.
those days.
Yes, bless. You better. I can vision it right now. My favorite was the black leggings and the jeans. And you could do short jeans, you could do long jeans, the little caprice jeans, just to pop it out with some Timberlands, or you could throw on, oh my gosh, girl, sis, don't get me started. Don't forget the Jordans, your Jordans, or you could throw on your Doc Martens.
Yes,
I got
the
you.
Doc Martens. Now that's, whew,
Child,
you take me back to
bless,
high school.
bless. You gonna get me started. I just busted sweat just now, just thinking of back in
Yes.
the girl. Yes, I know. I know. I still got my Doc Martens and my Timberlands though. They never told us
You
we
can
can't
keep
throw them
them. Who
down.
said you can't wear Tims?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying,
You can wear
it
your
won't be that
Tims, you
deep.
can wear your J's, you can wear your Doc Martens, girl. You can wear them with your skirts,
But
your
you long
dress,
face.
however you want to put it on. You put it on, okay?
Yes, yes, yeah.
Shelly says, when I joined Bible Way Church, they were in holiness, but after 15 years, the church started changing to accommodate the new generation. Mm.
Yes.
She says, my biggest problem coming into First Church was not wearing dresses or covering my head, but not having rings and fingernail polish. So this is a really good question. Not question, but
Perfect
statement, because
statement.
it takes us to another aspect of the conversation where it's just not about what we wear, also about your makeup. Were you a makeup or a fingernail, or like, what was your thing?
I was never a makeup person because I sweat a lot. I was a skincare person. That was my go-to. And I would put on a little lip gloss here and there, but I didn't care for all that foundation and I didn't have much to cover. And I made sure that I bought good skincare. So my skin was my primary, that was my number one care that I wanted. I didn't care for all the other stuff. So makeup for me was not my hot cup of tea. When it came to my nails, even in holiness, I still go get my nails done on mani pedi. However, though we're not allowed to wear colors. So at the beginning, it was a little weird, like, I can't put, you mean to say I can't put colors? And then I read the bylaws and then I reread again. I cried a little bit. I go and I read again. And I said, you know what? I don't need it. So there you go. If you, I normally I have Sister Elvira's shea butter and her oils, and that's what I use on my nails, guys. And see my nails, and they grow long with it too. Or you can find yourself some cuticle oil, and you still can look fancy, clean, cut in holiness without all the extra polish. So that's just something where the world and society has us attached to, where you have to have the long nails, the graveyard cut, the next thing cut, the square, the other thing, and we're all cutting up and we need these colors. That's society telling us what we need. But you really, eventually, you probably will cry about it at the beginning, but it's not bad to get over it. Now, some at the beginning for me as well, I didn't went straight turkey. I took the colors out, but I will put on a little clear gloss. Okay, I ain't gonna lie. We're gonna keep it real here on this channel. We ain't gonna be hypocrites. Okay, I go and I get a mani pedi, and I'll on my toes, because my shoes and socks would always have to be going in and out. I would do a little clear, and then eventually you get to the point where you're like, I don't need it anymore, and you eventually wean away from it. But it's a transition. It's not going to just stop. And I think this is why Sister Elvira and I is having this conversation, because most of us, what we do is we just say, oh, I had to throw this away. And we both finding out as we go, like, wait a minute, I could have transformed that suit that I had, my favorite suit, into something modest without having to throw it away. Today, y'all would never know. I have on a dress that I used to wear, it's just a cut here, all the shoulders, everything out. No, I never was a naked walking person. I always cover it up, but I'm just letting you all know back in the day, it was not this long jean jacket. It was a no sleeve jean jacket that I wore this with. But today I have the same dress on. Thank goodness I didn't let go of my Lululemons. And, I just fixed it up, made it into this. So I put my jean on. I have on my nice little naked dress under here. You would never know. And I just put the scarf on and I covered up because the little chest was probably too chesting and I didn't want, to expose too much. So I just covered it up with the headscarves and boom, there you go. That's the secret of this outfit.
Yeah. Yeah. And that alone takes time. And I know I can't find the broadcast, but Pastor did say we could have clear coat. He did not say anything against a clear coat. And so I don't know. I'm not about to go search the archives, for to
Mhm,
find one clear coat reference.
mhm,
But if
yeah,
to each his own. If you feel like, nah, I don't want no clear coat, that's fine. I think there is an aesthetic. I think that there is a level of looking groomed. And I'm not saying that you need a clear coat to do that, but there are just certain things in life that you should just like really invest in. And one of the things that you said was skincare. So coming into Holiness, I was a makeup girl. I wasn't a beat, but I did spend good money on good makeup. So I had my NARS, my Dior foundations, like stuff like that, my concealer, my one, God ain't gonna give you everything, so one thing he didn't give me was some eyebrows. Okay, so I had my little I, that's, look, you can't have it all. Okay, you can't have it all. So he didn't give me eyebrows, so I had to, that was, and the thing is, I never had to worry about getting my eyebrows arched because I didn't have a lot of eyebrow to arch. So they would just
yeah.
clean them up a bit, and I would go in with the pencil and fill it in. And I feel
Mhm,
like eyebrows are what really shape your face.
mhm,
So not be getting away from that was like a huge little curveball for me. And
mhm.
even now, I have not gotten rid of the makeup. I have it in my possession. I'm gonna be transparent. You was transparent. I'm gonna be transparent with you, sis. I
Yes,
ain't gonna leave
that's
you
why
out there
we're
by
here
yourself.
today. That's
Yes.
why we're here. We're gonna be honest, no hypocrisy over here. Okay, we're
No.
gonna
No.
speak reality. All right. I had to hit a little island talk over there. Okay. We are getting reality here because we don't want nobody to feel no culture shock coming in. We want
There
you to
you
know the truth. And that way you're not living a lie. Because a lot of time people they say they're going to do one thing, they're on the screen with one thing, and you go to their closet or go into their house and you like, really, you know, what
go.
is that over
Exactly.
there? So I know there's many that's probably watching here that has something in there they know they didn't have, but they're undercover. That little undercover lie. So we gonna expose all that lie today because I know you all have something in that closet or under the bed somewhere that you shouldn't have, and we know because we're living it on a daily basis, guys. This is
Yes.
real. This is us. Here you
Yes.
go.
Yes. And that is so true. And that is what makes people more relatable. Not trying to sound so perfect, like, oh no, I
Mhm,
got rid of all my makeup. I threw it in the trash.
mhm,
And it's not, and my thing is that one thing I through conversation with my cousin is that, yeah, you can stop doing the thing, but is your heart still in that thing? And
mhm,
I think that is where I have to get to with the makeup. Yes, I have not put on makeup and oh my goodness, it's probably going on a year now. But one of the things that you said was skincare. So with makeup and foundation and concealer, though I wasn't a woman that would beat my face down, I was still a woman that would get a good concealer and just spot correct. So if I had a black spot here, there, whatever, I would just take the concealer, blend it in, and it would make me look like I look now. But I had to
mhm,
get this the natural way, and I had to go through the ugly phase to get this to look like this. So one of the biggest things, like Shelly said, was the polish. I did not really miss that. Because I like getting my nails done. And see, many of you know I'm 5'11", and I do have, like, pretty, I got pretty large hands, right? So I mean, what would it look like if I was 5'11" and had little people hands? Like, that would look ridiculous.
God, girl, I'd be laughing a long time ago.
So I would love to get me like a good almond shaped nail with a good, like, natural pink nude color and
Mhm,
all of that stuff. And so those were things that I definitely had to break away from. And the jewelry, I loved me a good little minimum piece, like a good hoop earring, a good necklace with just one little dainty thing. I like dainty, elegant, simple jewelry. I wasn't like a gaudy type of female.
mhm.
If when, at the time when I wanted to, went engagement ring shopping, I was more like a diamond cut solitaire type of girl.
Mhm.
So I liked me a good, people like, what's that? See? But Paulette know what I'm saying. But I like me a good little solitaire ring, and you get your band, and it's still simple. Things
Something.
like Cartier. I told my ex at the time, like, I probably would just get a Cartier band, love band,
Mhm.
and wear that as my
Okay.
wedding band and keep it
Yep.
simple. And
Keep
that's
it moving.
$3,500. But that's the type of jewelry that I liked, and it was modest, but then again, at the same time, once again, it goes to our attachment. And I do want to mention, for those of you that may be watching this and you may be not in holiness, you may not understand why we don't do these things, and it's the vanity behind it. Because
Mhm,
typically, when we are wearing these things, it is for vanity. It
mhm,
is to feel vain and to love us, to love ourselves more as this person than what we really look like showing up. So
mhm.
thank you for saying that, Shelly. I'm gonna go finish off with these last couple comments. So Shelly says, I didn't get rid of my diamonds, even though someone told me to throw them away. I said, no way. 20K is going into the trash. I'm selling them back to the evildoer.
Thank you. You know, I mean, that's another thing too that I think they go a little bit overzealous in, because it's like, you're not I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep it candid with you. I did not sell my stuff. I handed it to my niece and nephew, because they're not in my not nephew, my nieces, they're not in holiness. And you know their belief in what they believe, they're allowed to wear it. I was no longer caring for it. It did not serve me, but it served them. And they were expensive things. So I'll prefer to give it to a family member that, that could have used it. So that's what I did with mine. God forgive me if I was wrong, but I felt like they were not in the holiness walk, and handed it to them, and their belief accepted it. It shouldn't be an issue. But like I say, that's what I did. I couldn't just throw it away. I did not throw my stuff away. And I know, I have to repent for that, but I didn't throw my stuff away either, Miss Sister Shelley. I either handed it out to my nieces that could use it due to their belief, accepted wearing jeans and leather, and all my jewelry. I handed it over to them because that's what they believe is. So I didn't feel condemned that I did something wrong. I thought I helped somebody. It's like giving it to Goodwill, and people that need it could use it. I no longer needed it. It no longer served me. So I know, according to the rules, I had to throw it away, but I did not throw my stuff away. I had
Does it
four
really say
boxes.
that?
I don't know. If you had Brother Jonah in here, he'd probably be like, "Yeah, you gotta throw it away and handed it to evildoers." But like you mentioned prior, that's the things that I had a little concern with, because I'm like, well, I need to drive a car. That's an evildoer. I'm driving around an evildoer. You need to buy your stuff. Like, I didn't understand that concept at that time, and I probably still don't get it quite why you got to throw it away. And I handed it over to my niece, and both of them enjoy my stuff. 4 big boxes of all kind of stuff up in there. Okay, and
Wonderful.
that's how
Yeah.
I did it.
Yeah, that's wonderful. I think that was nice. People can, hey, we can agree to disagree. I do agree with you there. I did not throw away my clothes. I did donate them. Just because I'm on the path to holiness does not
They
mean
were,
that I can't bless someone else with the things that were good to me. You
yeah,
can look at it however you want to look at it. I don't know if the company iPhone, if they in holiness, but I sure did give them a band, a thou for this phone. You know what I mean? So, I don't know if the person who made this HP computer, but I sure did give them, $300 when I got it. And it's a little cheap computer, but I did, so, we can pick and choose all day. We can, pick and choose all day. But I think sometimes I agree with you there. If that was how people see it, then kudos to you.
I
That
mean,
even, guess what? That makes you the best. You're great, because you want to know why? You have no, that's a true sign of no attachment. You could just throw away,
yeah,
Shelly said someone told her to throw away 20K.
for
Hey,
20,000.
yeah, go
Mm-mm,
ahead.
mm-mm.
That's a good call for some people.
I know.
So
Yeah. Jenny, throw
it
it in my
is.
backyard. Go ahead. Just throw it. Come over here and
Give
Hawaii
me
and throw
20
it right in
thou.
front of me. Okay, I'll show you.
So another question I wanted to ask is what that I have here for us to answer is,
Uh-huh.
did you ever feel like you were losing your identity when you transitioned into dressing modestly? And I think you answered this a little bit, but I would love to hear
Yeah.
more.
Um, no, I was always dressing modest. I told you guys my transition didn't just happen in January. It took a period of time for you to get there. And I raised up in a household where it had, yeah, you could wear pants, but it still was in a modest way, not showing all your little stuff and, you know, where you bend over and everything falls out. Like we couldn't dress like that. So I had a little bit from my upbringing on how to keep it Camelot and keep it together. And as I got older, I was never that person who liked to expose myself. I got married and was the same way. So transitioning into dressing modest, the only difference is that I tie my head often. I always tie my head, but now it's more consistent. I wear more dresses or skirts more consistent. That's the only difference, but it's never, it did not, I didn't lose anything. Actually, I gained because you never know how much air and how refreshing it is to put a skirt on instead of having pants on all the time, you know?
Yeah.
So for me, I actually feel like I gained, and you can pack more when you're going on vacation. More dresses and skirts can fit in your suitcase more than your jeans. Okay. So that for me, I think I gained by my transition. And no, I don't miss nothing. I don't. I'm gonna be honest. That part I can be honest with you. I don't, because it took me 4 to 5 years to get here. You know, I was already letting things go a little bit at a time. So when you start holiness, I think they need to let everybody transition like a little turtles until they can feel like they no longer need it, instead of
There you
rushing
go.
them and throw away 20,000 and throw away all your clothes and don't give it to nobody, instead of sitting with you and saying, hey, you used to wear no sleeves. Well, guess what? If you get yourself a jean coat or get yourself a nice little scarf, you can still use your no sleeve under there and still look cute and modest with it. If you had yourself, say, a short little dress, I know everybody had those little dresses that stop by the knee, sorry, you could figure out, well, maybe if I put on another nice little pencil skirt under that and I get a belt, I could transition that into something modest. Nobody would know. Nobody's out there telling us how we can transition without losing everything or feeling like we can't detach from that thing. We should be able to transition on the way, smooth and calmly, and start letting things go a little bit at a time. That's what I would say.
Yes, 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 yes. Thank you. For me, I would say I did feel that way, because I was into beauty heavily, and I felt that the communities that I was a part of, um, your feminine aesthetic is like your meal ticket, right? So how I showed up for myself, how I presented myself, the makeup, never leave the house without your makeup on. Like I said, if it's a little concealer, do your eyebrows, put on mascara. That was like something that I was in the way of being, like that's something that I had to do. So, it is what it is at that point. So when I came into holiness, I really did have to kind of like, take my time and get to love Elvira for who Elvira showed up to be, because I can honestly say that um when I would put on makeup, I would become a different person in my head. I thought I was more pretty with my makeup on than I did with my makeup off. So now I can more so say that I'm in a space where I'm happy with who I am, what I am, and how I present myself into holiness. So I agree with you as far as like how I dressed. I was never a seductive dresser, just because of my own little childhood and how I grew up and things like that. So I feel as if, I never really tried to dress seductively, because I
Mhm.
didn't like being subjected by men. So, I wasn't the type that would be like a deep V cut. I would wear things to kind of show certain things. We do that.
Like,
If you
mhm.
you always do a two in one thing. Like, if you're
Yeah.
going to show your legs, you cover up something else,
Correct.
So,
Yeah.
as a woman, that is what we do. That's how we dress. That's the mindset that we have.
Mhm.
So, with that transitioning, now wearing my dresses and being a little bit more conservative, it felt a whole lot better for me. Now,
Mhm.
with me, I would have to say that, the hardest part for me when it came to my clothes was my gym clothes, because
Mhm.
I had a lot of like leggings and things like that. So I, you know, I have to think about like what I was going to wear to the gym. And that was the biggest thing for me, because I'm like, how the heck am I going to squat in a skirt? How the heck am I going to be able to do certain things in a skirt? And, through, time and patience, and, not being overzealous, not taking everything to heart, and taking my time when I went to the gym, that whole wearing leggings in the gym, like I said, I was never the one who wanted to be seductive. So it wasn't something that I was doing to get attention of a man or men in the gym. It's just that this is my workout wear, and is that's how I was, so that I do understand and I agree with. And I think that is where, it is what it is. I think too, one thing that you mentioned, and that's one thing I love about going to a temple and not just going off of people online and what they say you should do.
Girl.
Because I've heard pastors say multiple times, leave people alone and allow them
Yep.
to take their time and allow them to come up to things. Just because you're able to throw away things and have no attachment, just because you're able to say, oh, well, I can't do that because then this, that's you. But other people, it's going to take them time to get to that stage, because holiness is a very, very hard walk. And you can't just jump into holiness, because then you drown.
Yeah.
So when you just dog pedal a little bit,
Turtle
um,
walk.
yeah, yeah, there you go. And that was something that I had to remind myself, especially when it came to the gym. Take my time. I know the intent in my heart. I know that I'm good in my heart, that I'm not wearing leggings to the gym to attract the man. I'm wearing it to the gym because this is what I have. Okay. And I want to get this workout in. And then, people would say, oh, well, the gym working out profits you little. Well, guess what? One of the girls on YouTube, Modestly Fit, she says, I want that little bit.
I
What the
want it too. I
profit
know.
that workout gonna give me, I want that.
Yeah.
So I want to say that in regards to the question, and before we change the subject, because we about to shift subjects, I did want to um, let me see. I think I'm trying to see what so Goyo says, I got a lot of shorts I don't wear no more. They are in the closet. So that's fine, Goyo. Take your time. Don't let no
Take your
one
time.
in here make you feel so out of
Obligated.
place. And that's
Yeah.
another thing. You could have been on your journey for 10, 15, 20 years. And you have someone like me, like my 1 year anniversary of being baptized the first time in my life was last
Mhm.
year, June 23rd. So there's going to take time for me to get to a certain place. So people who are on their journey, you're in the 10th year, the 5th year, the 20th year of your journey. I just want to say that you have to be mindful of your communication to other people
Yeah.
and be mindful of your personality type, because just because it's easy for you to do it doesn't mean it's easy for someone like myself to do it.
Yeah. Mhm. That's right.
I wanted to kind of greetings to you, Christopher Wright.
Hi, Christopher.
He says, back to his comment, he says, you don't want to strengthen the hands of evildoers. Um, and then I'm gonna try to be concise with all his comments. So then when we respond, when we go on to the next thing, we don't have to come back to these comments. So he says the Holy Ghost makes all the difference. I don't know why. Okay. Then he says delayed obedience is still disobedience. And then he says Saul's perfect example of that. So yeah, we kind of touched on the don't strengthen the hands of evil doers, and there's no other way around that. There's no other way around that. I don't know if the person who made this scarf is an evildoer. I don't know if the person who made these AirPods are an evildoer. I don't know if the person who made this microphone is an evildoer. I don't know. If I see a person in need and I have something that has no more use for me, and it may be a pair of jeans, a pair of shoes, or whatever, I don't know if that person is evil or not. I know that they need this, and this is something that has no more use for me in my life. But we got some go hards, some people that just be like, yeah, 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 but in other areas of their life they lack. So I would love to know, like, I'm gonna go finish saying what else, the next comment, but go ahead. Did you have something to say to his comment?
No, I'm a ditto right off of you so that way we could go through. I saw Sister Dawn just text us something, but
Yeah.
at the end of the day, I'm just gonna ditto right off of you. We don't know, and I mean, if that's something, then you all have to understand that we are still growing as well. So instead of having that, oh, we got to cut it loose, we may be a little bit slower and call it disobedient or however you want to call it, delayed. You said it's still disobedient. Well, we're still growing. We are not to the top of the bracket, guys. So I feel like, we have to give the new beginners a little time. And Pastor did say, don't judge us, just pray for us. So put a prayer in. Go ahead.
Yes, yes. And I think that in itself is hilarious because you just never know. You just never know. Just the formality of certain brands and what they do behind the scenes and what their brands actually represent. I wouldn't call myself a conspiracy theorist, but when you really do the history on like the company Starbucks, like, is that going to stop me from going to Starbucks and get me some coffee? And I just think that sometimes the conversation kind of just goes so far, to the point where it's like you become unrelatable. You become
Yeah.
a person that people can't really relate to, because
Mhm.
holiness in itself is such a hard
Yeah.
walk
Hmm.
that if we're supposed to be fishermen for other people, then I don't want people to think that where they are, they will never amount to even giving it a try. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think that's
Hmm.
what you and I are sharing tonight, is
Yeah.
that we took our time. And guess what? If we did do something and we feel that conviction later through the Holy
Yeah.
Ghost, then
Repent.
we will repent for that. And then what?
Yeah.
My pastor, he always jokes. He says sometimes people think that every time they do something wrong, they got to get rebaptized. Just repent and move on.
Keep it moving.
Yeah.
Acknowledge the wrong or the failure and repent and keep it moving. I mean, what can we do? I mean, my niece is not, I'm not going to say, hey guys, y'all need to throw away all those heels with the peak toes and throw the jeans away, okay? They'd be like, my aunt's crazy. Like, really, auntie? No way. So, I'll just chuck it up and repent about it. Like I say, at that moment in time where I was at in my walk, since we're still babies in these walks, I didn't see anything wrong with passing it on for somebody that really needed it. I no longer served it, but their belief allowed them to use it. So I passed it on. Right, wrong, or indifferent. That's where I was at that time. And I've grown a little. I'm keep growing a little. And, maybe 5 more years from now, you ask me that same questions, I maybe could come and say, I was wrong for doing X, Y, and Z. But at that time, I felt like I was doing the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi,
Yeah.
Sister Virginia.
Hey,
You look
girl.
so cute, girl. Ooh.
Cheeks. Skin
Yeah.
just popping. um, Mercy says, it
It
takes
takes
time. Okay, it takes time, and PJ knows, and said that if it take you 10 years, you are still striving because it's not easy, but it will sink in. I think that's what she meant. But
yeah,
I agree.
I
I
agree.
definitely agree. Like you said, it's like walking. It's baby steps. You
Baby
got
step.
what they tell us, get the milk first. And
The
some
bottom of
yeah, there you go. And sometimes that part takes time,
it takes
especially when there's other areas, and what we're talking about is literally just the physical part of it. Regardless if I burnt all the jeans up in my heart, if I still have a desire to wear the
for
jeans, I might as
something.
well just be wearing the jeans. So go
That's right.
ahead.
I just had a little small little epiphany. When you mentioned that, they're talking about the outside. What about the invisible ones that you guys have in your heart and nobody else know but you and God? Let's talk about
Mhm.
those. You could there a lot of people is quick to point finger at you. Oh my God, you handed over your stuff. But what's really going on? What about the invisible things that we don't know about that you're battling with right now? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Let's talk
Mhm.
about that.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about that. Don't be quick to judge. And the other thing too, my struggle may not be yours, and yours is definitely not mine. And some of us have a lot of invisible struggles. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Should I go a little deeper? Y'all have
Mhm.
invisible struggles that we don't know because the appearance that you put is one thing, and behind closed doors, you're fighting it. You're fussing, you're fighting, you're struggling, and you're pretending in front of us. And a lot of time in holiness, Plenty people do that. They'll tell you you're wrong, and then the finger go right back at them. They're having issues with something that we don't know. It could be you struggle to look at a woman. It could be you're battling that spirit of, Dirty Harry. It could be you're the porn that's out there. It could be you just have aggressive behavior with you, and you just can't keep a girlfriend or a boyfriend. It's something you're struggling with that we may not know. However, though, don't be quick to judge either. Okay. We're being candid here. We are being honest with you. Yes, I have 4 pairs of jeans that I paid X, Y, and Z on in my closet that I look at and be like, okay, Elvira just gave me an idea. And I'm waiting for my mother, who's a seamstress, to come and visit me so she could cut them up and turn them into scarves. Don't judge me. Okay. That's it. Moving on.
Yes, and that is what kind of too hinders people from sharing their testimony, because
Yes.
when you're honest and you're real, and now I see why people come online and they hypocrite, because if you come online and you hypocrite, you protect yourself from judgment from those who may have a little 2 cents to say about what you're testifying about. But I don't allow the hypocrites. I don't want to be a hypocrite, for one, so I try to be as real as possible with myself. It's not to say that people can have a difference of an opinion, but I can say that this is my struggle. I struggle here. This is what I'm sharing with the other sisters, because one thing I love about holiness, as much as you see the women in holiness, there's the same amount of men in holiness. There's families in holiness. And they didn't just come here just because one day, they said, you know what, I just want to be in holiness. No, it was some type of conviction in their heart that brought them here. And when I started out in holiness at the time, I could not find a person in holiness that I could go to their YouTube channel and see exactly
Yeah.
how they're
How to
living.
do.
Yeah, and that was one of the things that I said, okay, I'm going to come on here and I want to be a part of this void. And now that I'm in holiness, I see that it's not that they weren't here. They are here. It's just that I did not know them at that time. But sometimes I think about it like this: if I would have seen their channels, maybe I wouldn't have created mine, because I would have been like, oh, well, there's someone already doing that. So
Mhm.
I thank you for sharing that. And just to support what we're saying, Virginia Fillmore says, yes, ma'am, take your time so we can last to the end. Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you,
Yes. And
sister. That's right.
yeah. And that's one thing that, even on a treadmill, it's like, why would I burn myself out going at 6 speed, 6.5 speed? But if I do a 5 speed on the treadmill for 2 miles, I'm building that consistency and I'm not burnt out. I see people come in and they on the treadmill and they get on there 6.57, and it might be because they've trained their bodies to do that. But knowing my body is not trained to do that, just like no one is trained to come in holiness, because you got this wicked flesh. I got to go at
Girl,
my 5 speed like I do on that treadmill. And I just got to keep that consistency
take your
to,
time.
yes, take your time.
You have to take
Um,
your time.
I
Mhm.
want to see if there's anything else. Thank you so much, Christopher. And Goyo says, nobody will make me feel out of place. I don't please people. I try my best to please God. Amen, Goyo.
Amen. Amen. Go,
Amen.
Joe.
And then Christopher Wright said, wow, Paulette, good insight when you were talking about, what's in your heart,
Yes.
versus what are you doing on the outside. I mean, hey, we can look holy. We can have our dresses sweeping the floor, just what you say, you mop
Driving,
the floor
girl.
up with your
Swinging
dress.
like a bell. You know how those bells just go straight down to the ground? Ding, 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 ding. Yes, girl, we gone. And inside of us, our mind is somewhere else, all dark.
Yes, yes, yes,
Mhm.
yes, yes. You look, I remember him saying them long dresses go up just like the short ones. So who are you really?
Girl, you know?
You're walking around with your little bells on your skirt. Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, that's right, girlfriend. You got that right. Yeah, that's
That is
it.
hilarious.
That's
So
it. That's
yeah, so
hilarious.
That's what Virginia says. She says, Pastor said last night in Delaware, it's all about survival. And it
Yeah,
is like,
it is.
we got to make it to the end. And that's one of the things that I really do want more of. And I want more people to feel that way. I think, like you shared when, just with me and you through personal conversation, how overwhelming something that Shelly mentioned earlier, how overwhelming it was to come into holiness. And then it's like, first of all, you got the Bible, okay, and then you come into TOG and you got bylaws, okay, and it's
That's
like,
what
wait a minute,
I'm saying.
one thing at a time, partner. Like, listen,
Yeah, yeah. You know, it's
you
like a lot there, and then on top of that, it's they're not just there looking at you. You have to read them and work on abiding by them too. So that was another thing. You know, sometimes you go through the bylaws like me. I'm still looking to see if something will pop up there about my sandals. You know, the struggle is real, guys. You know, every one of us have that one struggle, maybe two, three, or four, that we had to put a little extra time in order to release herself from it or detach herself. So it's not
yeah,
easy, guys. The struggle is hard,
it's
but we
so
will abide till the end. Hallelujah. Praise the Lord.
glory
Amen.
be to
Yes.
God. Woo,
Mhm,
woo,
mhm,
woo, woo.
woo, woo.
Um, so Virginia says, "Child, the bylaws smack me so hard, girl. They still smacking me." When you
So
asked me
that's
that
what you talk
question,
about. Mm.
you asked me a question about something in the bylaws, so I had to go and I just went and I got it saved on my bookmarks. Okay, that's how close.
I
Me
know.
and you may never part. Me and them bylaws shall never part.
No, no, no. And I'm going to ask the questions too. I can't remember what question was. That was something. I think it
And,
was the blow
and
drying of the hair.
that, yes, that. And you asked me, could we encourage? And I said, well, yeah, you can encourage. And I had to go to the bylaws to see what they
Yes,
said about testifying in the church.
yes, because I
And
remember, yes, yes, I
yeah,
sure did. I had it.
yeah.
I was like, I'm new, you know, Sister Elvira and all the other sisters, they're a little older in holiness. And I'm like, listen, these little girls in here is getting a little bit overzealous and over righteous. And the lady, the little group that I was in, she said, oh, you cannot, we don't encourage in here because Pastor said, and I said, the devil, let's just slide. So I said, I text out to my sister. I said, listen, this group over here is saying this. Is that how it go? Elvira went in there with her little detective self and turned around and said, nope, it's not in here. And I said, nope. I said, correction. I said, I think you need to correct your voicemail because you're off and it's incorrect what you just said. Then afterwards, she apologized. I'm so sorry. I misspoke. We have to be careful. That's why the bylaws, like Sister Elvira said, we need to have them in the back, like pull them up on your phone, put it in the background, just in case you gotta go pull it up like the little and
Mhm.
check because people will be telling you what you can and you can't do and what you shouldn't do and no. Like what one of I think it was Sister Virginia stated. She said, or no, Sister Mercy, pastors preached about leave people alone, let them grow in their timing, give them the space that they need in order to release and let go instead of you telling them that they're so wrong and condemning them and criticizing them and complaining about them. Sit down. Thank you very much. Okay,
There
I'm
you
gonna
go.
mute
And
myself
that's
because I got a
yeah,
little
because
heated.
people do that, and they
Yeah,
do that, and they project. And Christopher, I do see you down there. I'm gonna bring you up when it's time, but right now, I've just wanted to put it out there in the chat, the link. But once we're done with the next segment, we'll bring you up, bring up anybody who wants to get on the panel and talk on the topic.
yeah,
But yes, so that was another thing for me is that people are so quick to tell somebody what they can do, what they can't do, what you should do. And it's like, even if what you're saying is in the book, let them get to that themselves. And one
yeah.
thing I would say to you, like, I'm not gonna don't say Elvira said. Remember when I was like that I said, don't say Elvira said, don't say that. Don't say that. This is what Elvira does. Now, don't worry,
Yep.
don't
Yep.
compare yourself to me. Don't try to do what I'm doing. Don't say Elvira said. Elvira did say that, but she didn't tell you to do that. Nah, we all grown. So
That's right.
I think that sometimes people they try to jump ahead and instead of letting other people get there, you know, to each his own. You know, there's some people in
Mhm.
holiness, in the belief of holiness, who don't believe that we can't, you know, they feel like we can wear jewelry. They feel like we can have braided hair, you know. So those could be the ones telling you, like, oh, yeah, you could braid your hair. Oh, it's nothing wrong with wearing jewelry, and
Mhm.
things like that. But another thing that I think I was going to say, oh, the encouragement part, I think where that happens too is that sometimes because we're instructed not to encourage, and that's just not for women, that's for men too. When you go to the temple, you are instructed not to encourage, because the point of the testimony itself is supposed to show the goodness of the Lord, not you um being and not you showing up and doing it yourself. So
Mhm.
I think that is another thing that is very important. And then Shelly says, I will be honest, I put down the bylaws because they had my head spinning. And now anything I need to know has to be in the scriptures. Yeah.
Alrighty. Nice,
Yeah.
nice. Sister
Uh,
Shelley, Sister Shelley.
oh. She said, this is why I ask God to help me to only judge myself and not others. Exactly.
Amen. Amen to that. Sister Virginia, you're just hitting it. Yeah.
Well, she
I
got
love
that good
it.
teaching, girl. She in Philly. She go to headquarters, so you know
Yeah,
she
she
gotta
got
be.
that good teaching. Make me want to fly over there sometimes. What?
Yes. So before we get and bring Christopher right on, I wanted you to share any of like your modest combos or your favorite go tos or things that you have been able to see online to piece together with what you have in your closet.
Girl. Now I'm gonna tell you guys. I don't know how to do the thing how you did it. I have it on my phone. So I'm gonna try and put things as close to my phone of a few pieces that I think you guys can still use and be modest at the same time. And I feel like these are things that I will wear. I don't have any picture with me, but I'm going to share something where you could make your own little outfit, and I think it will look cute. All right, especially since you guys in those weather where it's always cold and little here or there. I'm in the heat, so certain things that I'm going to share with you may not work for me, but it definitely will work for you. All right, so my first one is this. Can you
That's
guys see that?
nice. Yeah, I do.
So
She has on the.
that's a pleated skirt. It has, sometimes we have underneath shirts. Let me see if I can move. Okay. Yeah, I got it. So you see that the shirt, it could be a no
Mhm.
sleeve shirt. So maybe in your closet you have a no sleeve skirt. You have um a shirt that's basically have like open and you can't wear it because you're showing your shoulders. This would be great to put under that skirt there. You see this
Mhm.
inside. This is a nice little jacket. You can see the skirt is right there by the knee, right
Mhm.
below the calf, and the shoes are pointed, but they're covered. Did you guys see that good? And
I
then
can see it.
she
Mhm.
have a nice little purse. I thought that was a great outfit. That would be that's similar to how I dress. That's how I used to be out there. Yes. So that's something. This is a pleated skirt with the closed shoes and whatever little bottom under here that you will have at your in your closet, you could put under there, and you throw your little vest under with a nice purse. And this is fall season, so her dress is all like beige and browns and stuff in this outfit, just in case you can't see it fully. But that's what it's all about. And creams, that's one outfit. Another outfit is this one with the boots. Can you guys see?
Mm. Bring it
You
up
see
just a little bit.
a little bit. You see that?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, it's cut. Okay, yeah, right.
You see?
Okay,
So
yeah.
their booties, that's booties right there. I think that's what they're called, the little booty boots. It
Mm-hmm.
has a little
That's right.
heel. It has a little heel. It's the skirt. Remember, see how the skirt is? Now, this one maybe a little bit no shorter than the average, but you all get the drift, right? And she does have like sheer leg, not leggings, stockings on to match the top, and then you put your coat over and the underblouse that she has. That's a nice suit that you can work with too. I think I like that one, right? I hope
Yeah,
you
that's
all have
nice.
seen the colors because this is beautiful color. This another one when they tell us, oh, you can't wear
Oh yeah.
boots. You can wear boots, guys. Look at that. You have your nice little dress on skirt. You have your coat on. You make sure you get your belt and you put your boots on. Okay. Now they're pointed. The toes are covered. The heel is covered. But that is similar to what you can do. That's another option for you guys to wear. If you prefer your skirt a little bit longer than that, you can go right ahead. But these are just options that you can look in your closet instead of toss and everything and make yourself a nice suit. And look at, she's covered head to toe and always with a nice little purse. Look at that. You see that?
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
have more here. And by the way, if you think it was purple, it was brown because they're brown. It looks red from the screen, but
Oh
it's
yeah, no,
brown.
it looks brown. Yeah, her
Okay,
brown bag with her
perfect,
brown
perfect.
boots. Yeah.
Now I have another one. Now this is my kind of suits. Now the shirt, like I mentioned, you're gonna eat the meat and leave the bones. This is my favorite right here. This is my colorful thing. Look at that purple skirt. It's a skirt. The heels, it's covered. The little green to pop it out. The shirt that she have on is not as modest because you can see straight through it, but you all can get the gist of changing out your top. A nice little covered, probably a turtleneck would look nice with that too because it's not too long. It's just by the calf. And her nice purse with it, and she has her shades on. Look at that. We can wear shades, guys. We don't have to just look all
Yes.
stiff. You look at
Yes.
that. Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you
Mm-hmm.
add a little color into your mix. Now, like I say, I don't know, but it looks cute to me. Y'all eat the meat and throw away the bone. But I know somebody has a pleated skirt somewhere that they think they can never wear. Another outfit that I want to bring for you guys. Look at here, modest. Now this one is probably a little bit too little short, but it passed the knee. Like I say, just to get the idea. And she's wearing the leopard, and it's a jean top. Can you guys see that?
Just a little bit, but we could see the color
Oh,
of the pillow dress. Yeah.
you see that? Her
Yeah.
shoes is out of the
Yeah, with the
leopard.
leopard print bag.
The, the purse is out of leopard, and then the top is a jean top. And she's in
That's
the wind, so
nice.
her dress is blowing. And let's see
Yeah.
if I pull out another one. We have this one here.
Oh,
Nice
nice. Oh, yeah, you hit. I was going to talk about belts too. So, no, we can't, we strive to not wear jewelry, but you can accessorize with your belts,
belt.
with your scarves.
Your
I've been seeing
glasses.
a lot of scarves with, like, you could put them here and, accessorize with different things
Yeah.
that's not actual
Mhm.
jewelry. So, yes, I love that belt on her.
And then now the skirt is a pleated skirt, but it's
Yeah.
covered. She just lifting it up a little bit, but it's a long skirt, and it has her purse, and she had a nice little inside blouse and a jacket.
Mhm.
Oh, I wish I could have pulled these up for you guys. They're so pretty. Let me see. This one is the jean one. See that?
Oh, yeah, I like that, and she got a
Hold
nice
on.
belt on that waist, yes.
Nice belt, guys. We can't wear jewelry, but we can use belt, a nice purse. Get yourself your glasses, your scarf to match. You can still look cute with the little bit. Let me see if I can get this tone in. See, this one is a different color. See
Yeah,
that?
okay, we could see the fuchsia, mhm.
Fuchsia. Fuchsia skirt, and just pop the little pop of color. That's my style right there. And then if you want a different color, see there? It's a long sleeve, the little black coat, black top, and you find your colors both for your hair. And let me see, I have one more. This was my favorite one because I'm a yellow girl. You all know that. Look at that. You see
Yeah.
that?
Mhm.
That's modest. Now you don't have to post like her and do all that, but you know, your nice scarf, and guess what? You can get your nice scarf like what Sister Reviver has on her right now, and you could just go ahead and match your scarf to match your purse or your shoes. You see that one? That's
Yeah.
modest, guys. You know, it's so many
Yeah.
different things. See that one? You
Mhm.
can wear prints. Nobody said we couldn't wear prints. We could wear prints. We could still look modest, stylish, and covered. And see this one here? I don't know if this one.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
see it.
it's like a denim, or is it navy blue?
It's a navy blue with the beige. It's like
Okay.
a skirt with two colors in it, and then it has a vest. But the no sleeve vest on the inside is like an inside shirt.
Okay.
Oh
Turn the
my god.
brightness down on your phone.
Yeah, let me see.
Oh,
Oh,
but it can we can see it
hold
just a
on.
little if you do a little bit more. Oh,
There we
there
go.
you go.
Look at that. Look
Yeah.
how cute that looks.
Mhm.
So she wearing her vest, which had no sleeve, but she add a blouse on the inside. There you
Mhm.
go. And then let me see if I have one more for you guys. And this one is straight black.
Yeah, but it's that
Let me see.
satin skirt. Yeah.
It's a satin skirt. I don't know if we can wear satin. I don't think we can wear satin, eh? But look at this one was my favorite.
Why wouldn't you
Look,
be able to wear satin?
I'm just asking. You said it's a
Oh,
satin
I don't
skirt.
know. I think
Oh,
so. Um,
this is my dress right here. I have this outfit in my closet. The shoes, I just have them in black. And I
mm,
have my blue and I have my skirt in a different color. But this is something, look at that, guys. Yeah, she have a little SB skirt, I mean purse, little pouch. You could
yeah,
be fancy. And this one is another color one. You don't have to do your colors like your stuff. You know how to do it. You can get a nice little scarf around that. You don't have to be all open up, but you could still look classy
that's so cute. I
without
love
all the
pink.
extra, you know. And this is my last one that I had, just in
That's
case,
nice.
you know, the
Yeah,
winter
that's
coming in.
fall. That's me right there.
Yep, there you go.
There
And
you
that's the
go.
ones that I have. And eventually, when I do learn how to add it in there, I will. But because it was, you know, last minute thing, I was like, girl, I gotta share some of these things. That all of those there, majority is my style. That's how I will, you know, when you see me going somewhere, I like my little pop of color now and look simple, but then yet casual and comfortable at the same time. So that would be my some recommendations for you guys. You don't have to throw away all your clothes like how you thought you had to. You could start adding them and putting piece coverings over them so that that way you can make a nice modest outfit and nobody knows that you have on a little two-bow dress under hair, or you know, you just get a jean coat, get any type of coverings or scarf. They help put it together for you too. And Pinterest is definitely a great venue for you to go and look and steal a few options for yourself, and that way you can just get it all together for you and start your closet modest fashion a little bit at a time. Don't rush it, guys.
No, and speaking of Pinterest, so I'm going to share with you all my Pinterest board. This Pinterest board is called Modesty Chic. And I go on here, and instead of scrolling on Instagram, I may go on Pinterest, and I will save certain outfits to this board for inspiration, to get it, kind of get some inspiration. And most of the outfits are very similar to the things that Paulette has shared with us visually. But one of the things too is, like, as you can see here, I also look up ways to do my headscarf. So here, this is a young lady. She's showing us how to do the headscarf with the headband. So if you go back, you will see that she's putting the full scarf on her head, and then she takes a headband, puts that on and then wraps it around. So that way your satin scarves that you put on your head can stay in place and you don't have to worry about it moving throughout the day. So those are the things that I go on Pinterest to kind of take a look at and get some inspiration. This is something else that I liked a lot. This young lady, she has a fitted cap with a satin scarf, and she does it, different ways. She shows us different looks that she does. Um, yeah, so she's gonna take this and she's gonna wear it like what was it? Like the back in the day. I don't know what era it was when they used to do it like that. And then she puts on her fitted hat with the scarf, and then she does it this way with the fitted again with the scarf, which is super cute. And I think this is important where you don't have to look like you're going to church every day. You can make it look more casual. I think she has on jeans. Yes, she does. So here, think about a denim skirt with a white tee and a nice colorful scarf there. And
Yeah.
then um so then some other things too is that I usually will look at the girls of the other religions, and see how they do their hair ties and their head coverings. Just like Paulette said, like, yeah, her outfit overall is really nice. How she has this nice trench with the sweater dress with the boots, and she's covered head to toe. Okay, we got to get past, if you can get past her wearing makeup and all of this stuff and
And the
actually
wig. Yeah. You
that's in
know.
the weave, you can look at the outfit as itself and see if that's something
Oh, I
that you
like
can
that
do.
one.
Which one?
The one with the orange purse. That's my style right there. The white
This
shirt.
one?
Or what? What?
Yeah, and then she
That's
has
it.
the fringe. She has the
That's
fringe
it.
here, the
Mm-hmm.
orange bag, and that looks like Coach with that C. But then too, what I love about Pinterest is that it allows you to shop the look. So you can find a skirt that matches the skirt in the picture, a bag that's very similar, boots that's very similar to what's in the picture. So that's one of the
Mm-hmm.
reasons why I do love Pinterest, as well as Amazon too, because they will give you the links to the different clothing that you're looking for, or something very similar. Once again, sometimes I will, like I said, I come on here, I get inspiration, how I want to tie my hair today. And I'll go on here and get something like this and watch how she does it. This is me all day. So she has on a sweater dress with a skirt that had a split, but her sweater dress is covering up that split
Ooh.
with the boots. You see that? So something like this has Elvira written all over it. I can't wait to rock
Girl,
this look. You
stop it.
like that?
I had a jean skirt from Zara with a split. And I said, Lord, I'm gonna throw it away or give it away. But it's that's part of the four genes. Just looking at, and that's a great idea because I do have that sweater, the sweater dress already. Oh my gosh,
Mhm.
Elvira. Wow. That's
Yeah,
a
that's
great
dope.
idea.
Yes, I love how she did that. And like you said, Paulette, get fun with it. Get your sunshades,
Just
get
it's
your
fun.
sunglasses, and do it.
Get your
See,
purse, your handbag, sunglasses, your scarves. Just add value. You don't have to be boring and looking like you know.
yep. And here, also too, when I am looking at outfits, maybe every outfit that I look at, I may not, it may not be jean. I mean, it may not be a skirt and a dress, but sometimes it can be a pair of jeans that they pair with a shirt. But what I do is that I look at the styling of how they styled it. And I said, well, I could do that, just take away the pants or the jeans, and I could just put a skirt with that, with this same concept. So
Mhm.
don't just shut your eyes out because you see someone wearing jeans. You're like, oh, I can't wear jeans. I can't wear that. So I'm not even going to pay attention. Sometimes you can get inspiration from other people and how they wear their outfits, and then you could put
Yes.
it together yourself. Um,
Mhm.
So that's it. And something like this is super cute that you can wear into the office. She has
Yeah.
on her denim skirt, her blazer, and then she has her head covering more like the Muslim girls and stuff. So that's something. And every time I go back to Pinterest, it's gonna push it all the way back to the top. So let me see, scroll down. Let's see. But overall, you all can kind of get the looks are starting to kind of look the same because this is more of my style, right? So depending
Mhm.
on what your style is, you're going to start looking at people that dress very similar to you, and then you're going to kind of like be able to piece it together and, do
Mhm.
different things. Um,
I
so
like
like
that one
here,
too.
oh, which one? I'll go back and you can show me.
The
So
the
something like
beige.
this is a crop sweater, but if you have on a skirt that'll be like a high-waisted skirt, and then you have the crop sweatshirt, you can wear a nice t-shirt or something under a cami under it just
Tammy.
because you're not exposing your skin, but you can have like a nice cami under this outfit, and then that way you can do a crop sweater look. And see, look
Yep.
at this, like Paulette said, the
The
Dr. Martens.
Doc
Doc
Martens, they're
Martens, there
Jordans
you
right
go,
there.
Doc
Yeah.
Martens. Yeah, them, and then, the way they kinda just pair it together with the outfit. And then let's see if it takes me back. Oh, there. Well, did it take me back where we were? No.
Mhm.
Which outfit did you say that you liked that you wanted to
It
expand?
was the keep going down. I think it was something. It was a beige with the sweater. Beige sweater. After that, go down, down. Oh, where was it? It was like the beige sweater with the silk skirt. I like that. That one.
This.
Yes, I like that
Yeah. And
because
look,
that is silk. So
yes.
make sure that they know that we can wear it as long as they don't look so
Yeah.
sexy. You know.
Right. And that leads me, and then two, look at the closed toe shoe with a nice little
Yeah.
heel on it,
Yeah.
to accentuate your dress. I know Shelly made a comment saying that, she has to be mindful of the skirts that she wears because of her height. Well, I'm not telling Shelly to put on a pair of heels, but what I'm saying is that, wearing a pair of heels can just take your outfit from basic to elevated. So you can even think about that when you're thinking about the bag that you want to pair it with or the head covering that you want to pair it with. You can go so many different ways when it comes to that. So that's basically what I do. I go on Pinterest, I scroll and find different outfits like these. You could tell I've been doing this a long time. I've been over here just pinning away, just finding different things to kind of do and get inspired by. I really do like the fitted cap with the satin scarves. So that's something that I really want to do this upcoming fall. I don't want to do it in the summer because it's too hot for all of that.
There
But
you go.
speaking of, you said that I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing, and then I don't know if oh, he's still here. Okay, good. I'm sorry, Christopher Wright. You've been waiting for quite a bit, and I'm gonna bring you on. Anybody that would love to be a part of the conversation and stay on topic of the conversation, which is modest fashion. If you would love to share your testimony related to the topic, you are more than welcome to join the panel. I just ask that you stay on topic and everything. I want to say greetings to everyone that come into the chat at the current time. I do see this one question while it's right here in front of my face. Sister Davis, you said, do you have any cute ideas for sandals in the summer? So, what has been coming back, I'm noticing, is the ballerina shoes, where there are some mesh ballerina shoes. Have you seen those, Paulette? They're like on the rise. So they're called mesh, MES ballerina shoes. They're flats and they look like ballerina shoes, but they're mesh, and you can get them in different colors. And it's very similar to a sandal. It's just that your feet are covered up. And that would be a good alternative for you without showing your toes. What was I thinking about talking about
Pulling
before?
You
Huh?
were going to pull up. I think Christopher had a question and you were bringing him up.
Yes, it was something that I wanted to say before bringing him up, but
Um,
I probably done forgot about it by now. But I'm gonna go ahead and bring him up. Anybody is welcome. Hey, Christopher Wright, how are you?
Hi, Chris.
I'm,
How are
hey,
you?
how's it going? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I seen you live, and I always be trying to catch you live, and I never. Today I was actually was home in time, so.
I
Um,
appreciate that so much.
but yeah, I just realized that this is probably something that was more geared for the ladies than, and I was like, mate, should I even get up here and even say anything?
Yeah.
It's for the guys too.
Well, here's the thing. I do want to commend because uh uh what you're doing, I mean, it's definitely something different, and you're right. A lot, years ago, it probably would be frowned on, but what you're to me, and it's just what I see and observing, is you're making modesty fun, and it's not boring and it's not drudgery because people do have those concerns when they come around holiness, and they're not used to that particular lifestyle. So it's not
Mhm.
always an easy transition. But when you guys spend time, you know, mentoring and being an example to other ladies when it comes to godliness and modesty, that's good. That's what we want people to not have a judgery on what they, what to wear and things to that nature. So I definitely want to commend you on that because I think that is definitely something that is important, as far as people being comfortable with that particular lifestyle. Um,
Mhm.
Now, one of the things you said earlier that really stood out to me was when you had mentioned. I'm trying to remember how. I'm trying to recall it how you said it, but you were like, people
You are
can
Sister
focus.
Elvira.
You, Paulette,
Oh,
actually.
oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Attention.
yeah. So yeah, you made mention that some people focus on the outside so much, and it's like, well, what about the inside?
Mhm.
What's fascinating about this topic is in our new converts class right now, we're actually on the topic of holiness, and we're on the topic of modesty.
Mhm.
And a question came up from one of the new converts because we've all heard this all our lives. People will say, well, God doesn't care about the outside,
Mhm.
but he only cares about the inside. And 90% of the 99.9% of the people that bring that up don't even know the scripture or the passage that verse is actually contained in. That's one mistake. The other mistake is they totally miss the context of what was being said when God says that man looks upon the outward appearance, because that's all that humans can see
See.
is the
Mhm.
outward part. But if you look at the whole rest of the passage, Jesse had 7 sons, and he made them all to pass by the prophet. And 6 times the Lord says that no, I haven't chosen this. And then he says, don't look at the stature or the countenance of a person.
Mhm.
And and if you look down a little further in the passage, the son before the last, his countenance was perfect and his stature was perfect. He looked like the perfect man to be king. But unfortunately, what was on the inside did not match with the outside. Because if you look at the
Mhm.
passage, the few verses down, the scripture makes a reference to David's countenance and the way that David looked,
Mhm.
but the outside of it matched the inside. That's why the scripture says that David was a man after God's own heart, because God sees the realness of what is of a person's character, and that makes a huge difference when it comes to judging a person or
Mhm.
considering the person that you're looking at. Because we can look polished on the outside, but that
Yeah.
inside, if it don't match, then we're all going to be in trouble. You don't want that type of person being king, or that type of person being running things, because it's going to lead to pride and arrogance and eventually corruption. But that's what came to mind when you brought that up, because we were just discussing that. What, today's Monday, right?
Yeah.
We we
Monday.
were, we were just discussing that yesterday, as a matter of fact. So
Mhm. Yeah, I mean that's it, brother. A lot of them will
We.
end up judging on the outside when in reality they're battling their own thoughts, their own thing on the inside, that the silent struggles we don't know about, but they don't talk about it. So, just be mindful when you're judging others. That's what I was just making sure that they. What I was trying to say.
yeah,
And I know.
absolutely.
Good stuff. Sister
Yes,
Lyra.
thank you. No, that was good. That was good stuff, Chris. That was good. And that is true. Like, is my heart matching what I'm showing to the outside world? And I know I did see Tony Nixon's comment when he mentioned about, he was growing up in holiness and his sisters were get teased because they would dress, remember at the beginning of the show, I mentioned how, in prior years, dressed in modest was, I'm sorry, it was, the outfits were hideous. You had
Ooh.
your basics, your brown, your tans, and all of that. It was like really not a lot of depth in color schemes and stuff, unless you were a seamstress and you could make your own clothes.
Mhm.
So I do think it's a wonderful time, in reference to Christopher's point earlier, where in 2025 we are able to make modesty look appealing, and I think the culture is on a shift. It's shifting. It has not shifted yet, but it is shifting to people covering, women starting to cover up a little more, or more so the men are not really tending, or really trying to be with the women who aren't covered up, and I think as more men decide to, embrace modesty in women that they choose, more women who want to be with men are going to start being more mindful of how they present themselves to the world.
Mhm.
When you
Yes.
have a group of men coming on the internet literally saying the women are in the gym basically naked, that is a red flag. And it's not to the men, but for the ladies, because you actually have men saying, can y'all please go put some clothes on, and I know many people would say, well, that's not my problem, that's his problem. That, rightfully so, right? But in the same way, how you present yourself to the world does speak volumes. So Christopher, I thank you for that point, because being modest now, we can wear our colorful skirts and our beautiful scarves, and you could put on your nice skirt, or your denim skirt, or your dresses, and it's summertime, so you could wear a summer dress, which leads me into the thing I forgot to mention before Chris came up, was shapewear in undergarments. We did not touch on that, but that is very, very important. It does not matter what shape your body is in. You could be in the perfect shape of your life. You need shapewear, because you have to make sure that your body parts aren't just moving at a mind of their own, and you have things that are going to keep things restricted and in place. Now, granted, people wear shapewear to smooth out things like cellulite, or a little bit more in the stomach area than they would like to show in a certain dress. However, I completely think that every woman should have, some good shapewear, or some good little something
Agree.
that you could put on. Yes, and cover up. Back in the day, they used to call it a slip. you need to wear your slip under your dress, and what that did was what you were saying, Paulette, with the
Mhm,
tan dress that we saw. You was like, maybe it might be a little too see-through because of the color, but
mhm,
that slip that you have on under your dress, or that shapewear that you put on under your garments, is supposed to be the barrier between your flesh and the
and
skirt. So you need that, especially for my girls that got a little bit more curves than I do. You want to
thank you
make
very
sure,
much.
yes, you want to make sure that you are wearing shapewear. Shapewear comes in, different sizes, different colors. But my recommendation is to stick to black and the color of your complexion. So if you can get one, like for me, I'm a brown girl. I have brown and I have black. I have shapewear that comes in shorts, which is like the shorts that kind of like stop at the thigh, that comes up to the stomach. I have shapewear that's a onesie. I have so many different other avenues of where you can go with it. But I did
Mhm,
forget to mention that. And you got companies like Skims, and that's owned by, the celebrity Kim Kardashian, but
mhm,
her items are high quality and good
thank you
quality.
very much.
And you can go on Amazon. You can go on Amazon and get you a nice little shapewear that, does the tummy restricting, make you look nice and neat, and fill out the dress the way you need. So that's something that I forgot to mention earlier, before I brought Chris on, but I'm glad I remembered to make sure
Yeah.
to tell you guys to get shapewear. Doesn't matter how
Yes.
small you are. And I see Sister Davis down there, but I'm going to finish my point. Um, it doesn't matter how small you are or how unfit you are. It's not to make you look small. It's to make you look effortless, to make sure that your
Mhm,
pieces look good. I can't stand when I see a woman and I can see your panty line, through your clothes, because the underwears that you're wearing does not necessarily go with the outfit that you got on. So you have to kind of know what works with what. You can't just wear certain pair of underwear with every little thing. You got to make sure that certain underwears or undies go with the right appropriate skirt or dress. So I'm
mhm.
gonna go ahead and bring Sister Davis on. If you have anything to respond to, Sister Paulette, you can.
I'll just say ditto to what you say. They also have the underwear, um, waist panties. I don't know if that's how you call it, because it can cover, instead of you putting on the full bodied little tights and the overall, you can also just use the panties part where it covers the stomach and you still comfortable.
Yep. Hey, Sister Davis, welcome.
Hi, Sister Davis.
Hey, hi sisters and holiness. How you girls doing?
Doing well, doing well. How are you?
I am. Oh, let me turn my volume back up. Sorry. I am wonderful. Thank God. I have enjoyed what I have seen thus far. I didn't know you guys were on, and I just happened to get a notification. YouTube is always making sure I'm late. I don't hardly ever get anything on time, but I guess better late than never, right?
That's right.
Yes,
I came in on a good time, girl. I love that idea about the split with the dress with the split. Oh, girl,
that's a
Yeah.
good
because
one.
sometimes we throw away stuff, but hey, we could keep some of those things and
Mm,
just like you said, just modify it and make it look
interesting.
presentable.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, work with it. So thank you for
mm-hmm,
those tips. I was on here to talk about what you were just wanted to echo what you were saying. You gave a lot of good points. I'm glad you brought it up. Sister Elvira talking about the right body wear and shapewear because some of us are well endowed and we don't want stuff jiggling. We're supposed to help the brothers stay safe. So you got to do that because there's still men, like Pastor said, even though they say their flesh is not dead and their eyes still can see. So we got to help the brother and we got to help ourselves. And I noticed too that, and I had to learn this. Sometimes people, like you said, matching the right colors of things, like wearing a white dress with a black slip. That's like a no-no. You should always be
mm-hmm.
a
Gotta
white
get that
slip.
page over.
Yeah, there you go. So things like that, just little tips like that, and just And another company, I didn't hear the one about the Kim Kardashian. I think because I was just logging in, I missed that. So you have to give that out again, Sister Elvira. But I know there's one called Shapermint, and I have went to their website, Shapermint. I know you guys are familiar with that one. Their stuff is pretty good too for me.
Okay.
So excuse me, I'm sorry. So yeah, I went to their page and found some nice things for helping women with that. Would kind of keep themselves, firmly, snatched or whatever. But yeah, there's a lot of good tips. Like people wearing black stockings with a white dress and some white shoes. Oh my gosh, Lord help. I'm sorry, I've seen it all. I've seen all kinds of things, and I'm like, oh Lord, I just want to come over and talk to you for a minute. You don't wear black stockings with a white dress and white shoes. Don't do that.
Mhm,
That's an
mhm,
absolute no-no. Now, me, I can wear white in the wintertime. I don't know this thing about people saying you shouldn't wear white in the wintertime. I don't know why not. White works anytime, but I don't really like white anyway, though, to be honest. I don't know if it's
mhm.
because it makes you look bigger. I know black makes you look smaller. That's what I need right about now. But yeah, those are just things I've heard. But this is a great tutorial for me. I'm learning a lot. And
Mhm.
I was saying in the comments, there's a young lady, I think her name is Dig Beauty, and she deals with a lot of head wraps and stuff like that. She gives nice ideas about how to use head wraps and do like different things. I don't know if you all ever heard of her,
No.
but yeah, yeah, I think it's Dig Beauty if I'm not mistaken. But I'll check it out and let you guys know in the chat if I'm wrong.
Awesome.
But thanks
Awesome.
so much for having this.
Yes. Before you go, Sister Davis, you mentioned some summer little shoes that you can wear. I pulled up on Temu. Y'all know I'm a Temu black belt. And I ordered the yellow to these. And
Oh,
these
okay.
are something, your heels are covered, the toes are
Excuse me.
covered. And I think this would be a great option if you're looking for something for the summer that you could go on the beach or just walk around with your nice little skirt without covering up everything and smothering your toes.
Hmm.
I think this is a great option. They have them in different color, but I got yellow because we all know I'm gonna pop the color. But you say you don't like white, so I decided to show you the black ones. I don't know if you can
Well,
see
when I
it.
mean white, I mean like white dresses, like
Oh, okay. And this
yeah,
is
yeah.
yellow, and then they
I
have the
Okay,
like
white.
the
they look like
yellow.
Crocs almost. Oh,
Well,
those are
Yeah.
cute. They look like
but then
Crocs.
pretty much they have the little it's like cloth, but then you got to get the heel cover. So these will cover the heels and your toes, and they're
Oh, okay.
summery.
I like those. Those are cute.
Yeah. So this is
Hope they
on
come in
Temu.
summer.
If you're interested, I'll just send you the link, and you could go and
Yeah,
check them
that'll
out
be
for
great.
yourself.
You can send that to me. Yeah. I
Perfect.
don't have a Temu account, but I'll get with you later about that. And
Yes, ma'am.
and, it was something else I was going to say real quick. I forgot what it was. I think it was about shoes. I was going to ask. Oh no, sundresses. So a lot of people don't like to wear sundresses because most people like to wear their sundress without a shirt underneath. What do you girls have tips for those sundresses and things like that for the summer? I can't hear
For
you,
me,
Sister Life.
my sundresses, all of my, I still have mine. I like to wear either a jean jacket over a scarf, or I would
Okay.
use first I used to have those little crop shirts with the sleeve that's not too
Mhm.
long and you don't look so bulky. I would wear those on underneath so the
Okay.
sleeve portion can be covered. Or
Mhm.
you could wear your long sleeves, but it's too hot over here. So for me, long sleeve, not right now, but probably later on in the
Yeah.
winter. But that would be a great option. Definitely a denim jacket or any type of knit
Mhm.
that's like a throw over will work perfectly for your summer dresses.
Yeah, because I mean, is it wrong to wear shirts underneath like the little kind of half like the short sleeve like half sleeves underneath a sundress, or that considered tacky, or what do you guys think? I mean,
No,
I don't know.
No,
no.
you whatever color sundress you're wearing, if you have something that maybe have a plethora of colors, I usually try to pick one.
A solid
Um,
color.
yeah,
Mhm.
one solid color. I wouldn't wear I think to say you said is it tacky? I think it would be tacky if you wear a colorful sundress with a colorful shirt. But if you have
Yes.
a shirt, yes, if you have a shirt that's maybe like your complexion, like a nice brown, or if you have a black, white, nude, those type of colors,
Mhm.
those types of
Yeah.
shirts. I got mines from Amazon, and they are the slim fit kind, but the material of them is very soft to touch, so it's very comfortable
Okay.
in the summertime because you sweat. So, well, I sweat. Let me speak on
Right.
myself. I
I
sweat.
do too.
So
I do
I
too.
like a good, nice,
Yeah.
soft material on my skin because of that.
Breathable. Yeah.
Yeah, something that's what the material is called, breathable. That's what it is on Amazon. If you
Mhm.
search breathable slim fit shirts, now just because I am slim
Mhm.
is not saying that you have to be slim to wear it. It's just the design of it, the way it's cut. So
Right.
the material of it is really nice and it's breathable. Another thing with the sundresses, I would say get you some shapewear. I know you told me that you have some, the brand that you just said. I will put on like some type of onesie shapewear so that
Hmm.
way when I am
Camis.
wearing.
Yeah, they have those nice camis.
Yes, a cami will be nice, but as far as like, because when women wear sundresses, their behind be moving too, and that's sometimes
Oh
the
yeah.
goal. That's what I'm going
Yeah.
with the conversation. Sometimes that's some of the
Yeah.
women's goal to have that behind moving when they move. So to prevent that
The hips. Right.
and still be able to wear a flowy dress is to have something to keep that in control, okay? Because we don't need everything. We don't need, like you said, we don't need our brothers falling into lust because you
Yeah.
want to be at
Get in
Sisters
the
Club.
Holy
Mhm.
Ghost.
So yeah, that would be my
Right.
advice. That would be my advice. I
Okay.
was uh Virginia Moore said very tacky.
Very tacky. Virginia.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
I have one last question. We've hit the 2 hour mark. I think we did a
Yay.
really good conversation. But
Yes.
before we go, I wanted, while
Uh-huh.
you're on the panel, Sister Davis, I would love to get your feedback, and I'll let you go first, Sister Davis. And the question reads, what advice would you give to women who are struggling to find their confidence in dressing modestly?
Ooh, that's a well. To be honest, I used to be one that struggled with finding my confidence in dressing modestly because it's of holiness. It's kind of sometimes you feel like there's limited stuff to choose from and pick from. Um, I would just say just try certain outfits and sometimes you gotta encourage yourself and tell yourself, hey, I look nice in this and don't be so hard on yourself. And then it's hard. I mean, that's a good question, but
Mhm.
um, like dressing modesty, some people feel like, and I do know that in holiness we do feel like our dresses are supposed to be long, but I don't think they have to be all the way down to your feet. That's just me. I do wear mine way below, well below my knees, but I don't wear them to my. All of my dresses don't come to my feet. I put it like that. They don't come to my ankle. Now, I
Okay.
mean, 'cause to me, I'm covering up stuff, but and I don't know if we're not supposed to, but I don't always wear stockings in the summertime when I'm going to the store. Like,
Do we have
huh? I
do
didn't
we
know.
have
That's
to
what I'm
wear
saying.
stockings?
I didn't think we
No.
did or socks. I don't wear stockings or socks in the summer unless I'm going to church. Then I'm definitely gonna put some stockings on my legs. But if I'm just going to the store, I don't particularly wear stockings. But uh, to find your confidence, I think that you just have to keep playing around with outfits and just find one that really looks good on you and works with you, and then I think being self-aware of your body tone, your body shape, knowing which kind of body type you have and what outfits. Sometimes you can even probably Google and ask like, what kind of outfits make you look slimming or look more, maybe the sisters can touch on that because I'm not really good with that. I know Sister Elvira and Sister Life with Paulette might, but I would just say being in tune with your body type, knowing what
Mhm.
outfits and clothes to put on you. And then you look in the mirror and you got to tell yourself because the enemy's going to make you feel negative about yourself. And just say, hey, I do look nice. There's nothing wrong with encouraging yourself. We're not talking about being prideful and boastful, but just saying, hey, get a little self esteem and hey, I look good. And the more you feel good about yourself, the more you know what I'm saying, you can, you'll be happy and you'll feel great. And then people start to notice and be like, hey, you look nice in that. So
Yeah.
yeah, but these sisters can touch on it better than I can. But I wish I had more to say. But y'all go ahead. I'll listen.
Uh, it's my turn. Is it my turn? Okay. For me, I would say, confidence is something, it's similar like joy, and it's a choice. You have to choose if you're going to feel how you're going to feel, and you could either choose to feel negative or positive about yourself. And it always going to start by you telling yourself positive things. I look beautiful. And if you start out with the basic wear within your closet, like start out with a skirt and a top, get the skirt and the top correct first. Or maybe you don't have skirts, you may just have a nice little dress. Put on your dress. It may be no sleeve. Put a little nice little tin tops on and put a shirt on and throw it over and look in the mirror and tell yourself you look beautiful and start positively talking to yourself as young adult ladies that's moving and transitioning into a lifestyle you're going to call modest dressing because not everybody's used to it. I think if we start with basic wear and start increasing and talking positive to ourselves on a daily basis, we will be better off for the in the near future to have more positive and confident vibe as we go through the lifestyle. That will be me. What I will have to say. So it's all about choices and pick something,
Hmm.
pick the basics and run with it, and you're not doing it for nobody around you. You're doing this for you and because it's the right thing to do. And that is what's important. And speak positive to yourself. Every time you put on one outfit,
Hmm.
you're going to have one side of you going to say something negative. Girl, you look crazy in that. When you get in the
Hmm.
mirror and you say, I am beautiful. I'm doing this for
There you
God.
go.
I'm covering up because it's what God
Hmm.
ordained me to do, not what society is telling me that I can walk out
Amen.
in little short skirts or showing all my belongings because they feel like that is what fashion should look like. Right now, guys, fashion is natural beauty. They're not even
Hmm.
natural hair, natural beauty, and get a good skincare. So that way that will boost your confidence. Get a nice good skincare and stay consistent with it. But I feel like it's all a choice. And for you to be confident is you choose how you're gonna start your morning,
Hmm.
get your attitude right, speak positive to yourself, and move about your business. And you ain't doing it for me, you ain't doing it for the one across you. You're
Hmm.
doing it between that relationship is with you and God. So that would be
Hmm.
mine.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Thank you. That was really good feedback from you both. I would say that confidence in dressing modestly does start in your mind first. And for me, what works for me is just ripping the band-aid off and allowing the allowing myself to kind of like just heal over time. So what I'm saying is that the confidence comes over time. The more you dress, the more you feel, the more you learn your style and modesty, then you will start to get a little bit more encouraged. Sister Davis spoke on and mentioned knowing your body shape or your body type. And what that does is to let you know what outfits look nice on you, clothing look nice on you. If you have broad shoulders, certain clothes and certain necklines is not going to look nice on you because of your broad shoulders. If you have if you have a short torso, maybe a high waisted skirt is not going to look good on you because your torso is too short for it to be on it. um so that's something that you really want to know your body type and your body shape, and you have to be real with yourself. Something that may look presentable on one body type, maybe a woman that's maybe like 5'2", 5'3", she can wear her dress a certain way. But a woman that's tall like me, it might look completely different on me because I have the height to carry the length of a certain dress or skirt. And so things like that really do help. But for me to build the confidence, I just had to do it one step at a time. The confidence in the clothes wasn't really things that I really felt insecure about. It was more so breaking away from the makeup and the extensions of the hair. Because, just because I have locks, I could get extensions added in, or I can get me a wig and put over these locks. So in that area, I had to really love the way that I looked naturally in the mirror and not try to alter my appearance because I don't like I said, I don't really have thick, full eyebrows. So I would fill them in with the pencil and make them more full. So those things take time. It's not something that is going to happen overnight, but the more real you are with yourself and what you look like, the better you're going to feel about how you present yourself to the world. So just being mindful of that, take baby steps. Don't worry about what the next person is doing, what the next girl is doing. Don't worry about that. Worry about yourself. Worry about where you are in your journey. Embrace that and be proud of yourself that you're even making the decision to make these changes to embrace who you are. Do you know how powerful that is to look yourself in the mirror and you have nothing on artificial and you love the way that you look? Many women can't even step foot out the house to go to the grocery store without looking like them natural selves. So embrace that. Know that you have already done a great job by just taking the step. Now do it confidently and fake it until you make it. If you feel like Sister Paulette said, I look crazy, I look ridiculous. Hey, oops, sorry, you might look a little crazy and ridiculous, okay? But hey, fake it until you make it. Tell yourself, you know what? So what if I look um crazy? I'm gonna look crazy. I'm gonna look good looking crazy, okay? And just pretend, pretend. And over time, you would start to see that the insecurity that you had towards your modest apparel is going to start to fade away because you're going to really start to love the way that you look in your skirts. And you're going to see that you stand out. You're going to see that when you walk into that store, that man is holding the door for you because you have on a skirt and you look nice. Your head is covered up and you look presentable and respectable, okay? And not only just the men, even the sisters are going to be giving you compliments when they see you out and be like, oh, sis, I like your skirt. I like the way you did that. Just and wait, those moments are going to happen because you don't look like what they see on a daily basis. So yes, at first it's going to feel weird when you see, the women's with the cleavage out, the legs showing and all of that stuff. But just know that there is a reward for your modesty. And look, you may not wear it, you may not can wear it in the street, but you can wear it at home, okay? So, if you're single, you by yourself, and if you are married and you're a woman and you're married, those sassy little cute little outfits, wear those for your husband. And the things that you would wear out, wear it at home for your husband, and allow him to allow your husband to lust after you and not the world. So I would encourage you to do that for sure. I want to read this comment from Virginia. She says, talking to the Lord helped me with my confidence. Also, I have these words posted in my mirror, which say, you are beautiful. Don't let no one make you feel different.
Beautiful.
That's
That's
beautiful.
awesome.
I
That's
was going to
awesome.
piggyback on that before she said that. I was going to say to embrace yourself, but sometimes people have had a life full of negative and people putting them down. Even in school, you may have came up with people bullying you and pulling down your self-esteem. Who knows? You may have been with a man in your life who just was negative to you, and you let that stick in your spirit. So, sometimes it is a hard thing to overcome with confidence. But I was going to piggyback and say what Sister Virginia said before Sister Elvira had read it too, was that sometimes you have to probably pray about it and ask the Lord to help me to love myself, help me to embrace myself, and help me to see the beauty in me that God that you see in me, because everything that God made is beautiful and He made us in His image, and we have to remember that if nobody else, like Sister Life with Paulette said, if no one else thinks it's about you and God at this point. And then once you start to feel like Sister Elvira said, once you start feeling good, and like she said, you might look a little crazy, but I think that you should find three positive adjectives to describe every day. If you have to come up with three positive adjectives until you get to that fake and make it process, hey, I'm beautiful, I'm bright, and and I have a lot to offer. And not because of me, but because of God's permission. He made me this way, and I'm going to embrace who God made me, and then ask God to give you ideas for beauty tips. He will do that. He will go with you
Mhm.
shopping. I have been in the store, and God, I'm telling you, the Holy Ghost shops with me. There are items that I wanted to pick out, and the Holy Ghost would tell me, no, that's too thin or that's too short. So the Holy Ghost will shop with you. He will give you conviction about what's right and what's not right, but He'll beautify you. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a beautiful process. But yeah, some people have to struggle because they've had a history of being, having negative things thrown at them, and there's not always a nice environment. That we are in society is sometimes cruel, but prayer helps with that, like the sister said. So that's all I wanted to add on to piggyback. But I enjoyed both of you ladies' comments. Very great. Very great.
Thank you, Sister Davis. Christopher Wright, you came back. Anything else you wanted to add to the conversation before we close?
Yeah, can you hear me?
We can.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just thought about something when you had mentioned about form fitting. I think it's another important imperative thing of caution when you're dealing with the opposite gender. Obviously, um, men go based off of what they see. So when you present yourself, keep in mind the scripture does teach us that we're not that the flesh isn't supposed to glory at all in His presence. So be mindful how you're carrying yourself, because I don't know. It's to me sometimes I wonder if people are trying to become fashion models, because sometimes whenever you do a short, and I'm not going to say no names or nothing like that, but sometimes when I pull up my phone or I pull up YouTube, sometimes I don't know how your phone works or how anybody else's phone works, but sometimes when I pull up YouTube, it just throws either a short in my face, or it throws an ad in my face, or it throws a video in my face. And sometimes it throws people's shorts in my face, and I'm looking at the short and I'm like, and this is just me as a man, just being honest. Okay. Sometimes I'll be like, my goodness, and they're dressed, they're in modest dress, they're modestly dressed. But I'm like, wow, you know, where, why does that person got to be on the other side of the country? So I'm just saying, whenever you make your shorts and whenever you do things, be mindful of what people might see, because obviously you're doing it for fashion, and that's fine, but just keep that in mind when you're, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it does. Yes, yes, yes. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing too. As woman in modesty, walking in holiness is hard because it's like we're being punished. Like we can't show our toes to you guys. We can't show our heels to you guys. We can't show a little chest. We can't show our behind. Like we can't show nothing because it's all about you guys.
Mhm.
You know, so we end up with the end of the stick of like, okay, we gotta cover our hair because we can't have no curls. We can't arch your eyebrows because you all may like it. We can't put no color on our nails because you all may just fall short. So we are dimming down and holding modesty down so you guys can try to get your salvation together.
Well,
And
check this
trust
out.
me, it's hard.
Amen.
Check this out. Check this out, Miss Paulette. I want you to
Yeah,
think about this. I want you to think about this for a second, okay?
sure, absolutely. Go ahead.
Jesus Christ told the disciples that if we so much as look upon a woman as to lust, then we commit the sin in our heart. Now,
Mhm.
if you look at the natural, he never said anything about to the woman about anything. But keep in mind what we see, the scripture tells us that the eyes are the light of the whole body.
Mhm.
So we are affected and impacted by what we see. And when he said that if you just look, if we commit adultery without physically doing it, then those safeguards that are put as far as holiness and the dress on women, that's for our protection. That's for our
Mhm.
benefit. It's not to tie you down and make you feel restricted and all that. That's to help us out because we need all the help we can get. We struggle anyway.
Amen.
So
My
and
Yeah.
that's why
husband said that.
and that's why I was addressing, you know, uh, the shorts. You know, when I see somebody, walking, I'm like, are they? To me, it looks like they're trying to be a model, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what to think. But I do know that a man naturally, or excuse me, a woman naturally is attracted to a woman. So, I
Yeah,
mean, but
it's
but that's
funny. No, no, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I
Brother
mean,
Chris, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's going to be it's going to be tough, brother, especially if like I was talking earlier in regards to your eyes having those silent struggles, because some people could look at someone and they don't have any type of lust towards them. They'll be like, oh, nice tie. Like I could look at someone and say, oh, that's a nice jacket or that's a nice tie, but I don't have lustful feelings. So I think it has more to do with the individual on things that they need to pray about and work on, because if you looking at a reel, it's gonna get you flying, and there's more in depth work that needs to be done on the inside because we should be able to look without having the lustful portion. You can look and be
Yeah.
like, oh yeah, that's very short. Oh yeah,
No,
she's showing a lot, but not lusting towards it.
right,
I don't know if that's what I
yeah.
understood from you.
right,
Hmm.
right,
I
right.
agree. But
I do agree though. I do agree that people should be able to control themselves. As
yeah,
far as the thoughts and the things like that. But what I'm saying is, if you're dressed in a certain, I mean, if you go back and study history, study how God handled and dealt with harlots and how He dealt with those people that play the part of the whore, play the part of the harlot, and how they were dressed and things of that nature. Just doing a little history study on that stuff, you should see the significance and the importance of why women are covered,
well,
why
well,
they
it's
should.
funny to me.
Oh, go ahead.
I'm
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead,
sorry.
go ahead, Sister Davis.
No, I was gonna say it's funny to me because it's funny because a pastor said that a brother said he came to the church at one of our temples, and well, I guess the main headquarters, and said Man, you can't lust after any woman up in here because they so covered up. And that's what I was saying. It's so funny because and there's a reason for that. And like even pastor said people would question about why do you let the sisters sit on one side and the brothers? Because there are, let's just be real, there are some people, not just men, but there are some people who struggle with, even being able to sit by a woman. Like my husband told me that like when we got married and like when we got engaged or whatever, and like we had to like where we was at church or something like that, and he said even like when you have to be if you sit by a woman, because it's just a natural thing for a man. If you're depending, if a woman sits too close to a man, they got to be careful because they're human. They can feel their body. A woman's body is soft, it's not hard. So even little things like that. But and then that's why I think it's important that we dress modest, because we're like supposed to be a gift, and you don't get to see those goodies until you marry, and then your husband gets to unwrap his gift and gets to see what's underneath and what he, I ain't gonna say purchased, but what he got for a gift. So yeah, and I just think that some people, like Sister Paulette said, I don't care if you're dressed up with head to toe. Some people got a spirit of lust, and they're going to lust because it's just in them, unfortunately. That's what just
Yeah.
some people just, I don't care if you dress with, and you got
With a
your
sack.
neck covered up to your
You
neck,
could
to
put
your
a
feet.
sheet,
Yeah,
a
you can put
sheet,
on a
and
burlap
just stay
sack.
like
And
wondering
some
what's under
men are
there.
just like that. And right, you can put on a burlap sack or whatever. And some people just lustful, but what can you do? I mean, there's only so much we can do as ladies. We can put on the girdle and everything, but if you want to lust, you're gonna lust. Period.
Yeah.
Until you have God. Not talking about. I'm talking in general, brother Chris. Please don't take that personal.
Oh
Yeah.
In
yeah,
Don't take it
general.
personal.
absolutely, absolutely.
Okay, great. Okay, great then. I don't nobody think I'm talking about them. But like I
Yeah.
said,
No.
if what's in you, it's just gonna have to be prayed over. Some things, cause like even a good looking man, if a woman sees a good man, I don't care if he puts on a suit, his tie, his necktie and everything. What more can he do? If you're gonna lust, I mean, if he got big bulky shoulders that come through his suit jacket, what can you do? You have to just ask God to help you, with the way you are, the way you're seeing things, because it's not always the person, it's sometimes you.
Yeah.
So that's all I want to say.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. That's the truth. I mean, sometimes we can have on, like you say, that big old long sheet quilt, and those guys will figure out how, if you have an issue with your eyes, you would look at her straight through the sheet and be like, you'll be
Mhm.
start flying. Wee! Also,
Imaginating thing, imaginations.
imaginations. So that's why I was talking
Mhm.
about the silent spirit, that the outside we may not all have it perfectly like down packed, but the inside of some people, they have those silent little struggles that they have to work on and pray about. So that would be my response, is that if you can't handle your eyes, and your eyes are telling you one thing and you can't control that emotion, then those needs to be down on the ground praying to fight that spirit. That's a spirit.
Amen.
Mhm.
We all gotta try to. I mean, typically when you're
Yeah.
living for God, you always want to try to help people be saved in
Yes.
every possible way. And what we do, I mean, it could be as little as me, or I wouldn't even say a little, but it could be as something as simple as a bad attitude
Mhm.
that could rub somebody the wrong way and send somebody spiraling down the wrong path, you
Yep.
know. And that's what
Correct.
I like. Try to put it this way. I don't want to be the reason why, and this is just in general. I don't want to be the reason why somebody else falls, or I don't want to be the the reason that somebody else is struggling. Let me not be
Mhm.
the stumbling block, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
So,
Sure
are
does.
you talking about me, Christopher? Because I have shorts and I'm walking. So let's be clear in your description.
Oh,
Not
Christopher,
just you,
no, no,
not just.
we can't
I
call
mean,
him out like
she,
that.
well, I mean,
Let's get to it. Go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
I actually didn't say any name, and you aren't the only one, so you know. But yeah, I definitely wasn't trying to call you out in the description, but
Mhm. Well, listen, it's our eyes. Sometimes, I mean, if a person is beautiful, I don't care if they have on a quilt. It's just a man's nature to be attractive. So that's a good thing. Don't look at it as a bad thing, sis. Just look at it as like you're very attractive. You have a nice body, and people are looking, and you're single. So people's going to see a beautiful girl with a nice body walking around, and they're going to have an imagination, and that's just kudos to us for continue to keep covered, because let them have their imaginations, but just let you know that that's how beautiful woman is. That's why Pastor want us looking like little house garments, because we got to keep it covered so that they can stay focused. All right, you cover it all up the hair. Maybe eventually we're gonna come where we're gonna have to just show our eyes, like the other type of people where they just cover everything, just the eyes are out, just so that the guys don't struggle too much. But I will take that as a compliment that he
yeah,
does
definitely,
just beautiful.
definitely take that as a compliment. I
Yeah,
mean,
it's a compliment. It's not.
honestly, I've never seen your content like that until I don't know, maybe a week or so ago, and then all of a sudden I just seen the short come across, and I was like, man,
My content. No, you're talking about Elvira because you don't follow me, Chrissy. What happened?
well, the thing of it is, I've been focused so much more on business, so I've been on this channel more so than my Simple Faith channel. So I haven't.
Oh,
So,
you
but I
follow
do
me on
follow.
Simple Faith.
Yeah, I follow you on Simple Faith, and I just
Okay. That's all. I was
But
just gonna say, I know he ain't talking
yeah,
about me, but you not
I
following me over there.
well, when I'm on Simple Faith, I do actually, engage with your most recent content, but I haven't been on that channel in so long. I
Yeah.
mean,
So
and I
when
don't,
are you gonna come back to Simple Faith?
I don't know. I
Okay.
Like I said, I've been doing a lot of business related stuff and been
Okay.
looking up a lot of business type stuff. So on this channel,
Uh-huh.
most of the feeds that I get are mostly business.
Okay.
Very rarely do I see, uh, anything scripture based or anything, spiritual type content.
Okay.
Now, the
Yeah.
only two people that I actually follow from this channel is Elvira, and then I follow, oh my goodness, Jeremy Dunbar.
Oh, he's still on? I think he's on, eh?
I don't know if he's on right now, but I mean, I just been kind of following this
Yeah,
live right
yeah.
here.
Oh, okay. So he's still on. Yes, indeedy. But hopefully I saved you from from your from yourself just now, Chris. See how
I
we
was
switched that conversation?
I just wanted to yeah, I just wanted to
So can I ask a question?
yeah, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I didn't mean it. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want you to pop off before I could ask the question.
That's all. The last thing I was just going to say is just I want people to think, at least hear from a man's perspective. It's not that we're trying to lust. I mean, beauty is beauty. When we see it, hey, we're going to admire it. Sometimes, it you know, just keep that in mind.
Well, I want to say thank you for being honest and
Yeah, honest.
transparent and sharing your feelings and your thoughts. So, with that being said, do you feel like the woman should try to make an adjustment, or should the man try to should he try to make an adjustment in a situation like that? What would be the best thing? Like, and not just for you, for your perspective, for any man that's feeling that way, should the man try to make the adjustment, or should he try to speak to the person that he feels is doing this and possibly causing this feeling and ask them to make an adjustment? I mean, how would you remedy that situation? What do you think the way to remedy that situation would be?
Well, I mean, obviously, but it's natural for a man and a woman. You know, it's a natural desire. It's not something that I don't think a person should have to adjust or feel that that either party should have to adjust. I mean, it's just a matter of being able to control the thoughts and filter stuff to where it doesn't turn into an ungodly spirit, if that makes sense. It doesn't. You don't want it to turn into lust I mean, you can't stop somebody from being beautiful. I mean, you can't stop somebody
Right.
from being
Because she is a
handsome.
beautiful lady. Yeah,
And
I agree. My sisters are beautiful. And the Lord has made them beautiful.
I mean,
But
sometimes,
I was just saying that's great that you are telling, giving us this advice too. But I'm glad that you're able to say that.
but
So
one of the things I used to say is that's God's fault. He made you that beautiful. I mean, if somebody to blame but him
wow.
at the end of the day. But yeah, I mean,
Well, can I ask you? You're single, right, Chris?
yes, ma'am, I am.
Okay, so I don't know what age you are, but I just want to keep this in mind, not throwing anything out there. But a man that finds a wife finds a good thing. I'm just going to say that and leave it at that. Because I learned from our pastor, and I didn't even realize this, and I had to come to grips with it. He told the truth. I don't know if the sisters can attest to this, but it was like a few Sundays ago, and the subject came up, and pastor was talking about how this man asked him about lusting. He was talking about lusting, and he was saying he, even before he married his wife, Sister Darlene, yes, he had to be honest. He lusted after her, and it's like it was hard to hear because you don't ever think about it that way. But when you're looking at someone in that light, especially if you're thinking about marrying them, because I didn't think about that way about my husband, but then when I have to think about it, when after I let my mind go back. Yeah, I thought he was really handsome, and was I lusting? Maybe I was then. I mean, and he told me some things after we got married, how he felt about some things. So I just was finding it just amazing, and just kudos to my pastor for being able to be honest about, yeah, men do lust after women. It's like he had to be honest. He said he lusts after his wife, Sister Darlene. I have to find that tape, that video. Remember which one it was. And if I do, I can find it and give you the timestamp. But he talked about that, and there's nothing wrong, like Sister like what Paulette said. Nothing wrong with looking at a woman and thinking she's beautiful and saying, "Hey," that's like it. Kind of like turns me on. Like not like to the sense like that, but like she's really beautiful, and I admire the beauty that God has given her. I think that where it goes wrong is if we start to imagine things that we shouldn't imagine, like, see yourself going like a whole different, what should I say, putting yourself in situations like, what I'm trying to say, not letting your feelings go too far and run away from you. That's where the part gets kind of bad. But there's nothing wrong with looking at a lady and saying, "Hey, she's beautiful." I mean, wow, that's a beautiful person. But how far do we take those feelings is what I'm talking about. Because even
Well,
though I'm married, I still see there's some handsome men out there, but none of them top my husband as far as I'm going to be concerned. But there's not doesn't mean there's still not nice looking men out in the world. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just the way it is.
well, I think when you mention it like that, you have to take something in consideration though too, because it's. I mean, when you're married and you're in a covenant relationship, it's more than just a contract or a piece of paper that says you're married. Um, if you look into the biblical references where your body's not yours anymore, it's the wife's, or your body's not yours anymore, it's the husband.
Hmm. Hmm.
So when it comes to that type of stuff, I mean, I think what people should do more so than anything, because God says He hates divorce. So when it comes to looking at somebody and you're married, you have to put yourself in their shoes. How would you feel if so and so was looking at somebody else, or how would you feel if it was the other way around? And when we think about it from that perspective, we're always like, well, that, you know what, I can't really imagine somebody else, or with my spouse, or whatever the case may be.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Right.
and so it's one of those things
True.
where you got to consider not just your own self. You can't be selfish in that regard, because it's not fair. Because I mean, if think about it, if we could look at a woman and commit adultery just by the look, then what can women do when they look at
It's
men
not
and
the look,
women
though.
just
It's the
by
lust.
just by the thought?
It's a
Right.
difference.
So
Because I can look at a man, Brother Chris, and say, "Oh, he's a handsome man," but I'm not lusting after him. I don't want him, because I
right.
think lust means you want and desire that person, or you want them in a special, in an inappropriate way. When I say
Right.
inappropriate, it's not what God ordained, but it's like I can definitely look at a man and say, and I'm married. I don't just go look at a man, but I'm saying if I just happen to come across one who's nicely like haircut and well groomed and carry himself nice suit. My husband's not going to get jealous because he knows where my heart lies. He knows it's all about him and me. So he
Right.
knows he don't have no to worry about no competition. As a matter of fact, if I can be truthfully honest, my husband goes when he goes to work. There's been women because my husband got like big, like kind of shoulders and stuff. He tells me
Mhm.
about women who try to touch him on his back and his shoulders, and we have that kind of relationship. And he tells me what he tells them, and vice versa. If I'm in the store, if a guy has tried to approach me, I've told him we don't keep no secrets between us. And that's happened with us since we've been married. Both of us have been approached a couple of times by the opposite sex. Of course, like by me, a man, and him, a woman. Yeah, we've had that happen, but we can be honest and say, hey, we know where our loyalty lies. We know where our love lies. And as far as I'm concerned, there's nobody for me but Brother Davis, and nobody for him but me. So, but I'm not gonna be stupid and say, "Hey, my eyes don't see no more." Yeah, my eyes still see. And if I see a nice looking man, he's just nice looking. But does that cross my mind? It just goes in one eyes and fly out the other, into my ear, whatever you want to call it. But
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely. I don't.
but the
I
ball's
don't
in
think.
your court, Brother Chris.
Yeah, I don't. I
The
don't think
ball's in
that.
your court, huh?
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I don't think. Like I said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I guess if at the end of the day, you're going to know better than anybody else if your heart's right in the whole thing or not. No, I mean, it's not for me to decide or anybody else to judge anybody else for, because again, it all we can see is what's on the outside. We can't really see what the intentions of another person's heart is. You
Right.
know. So
But but you have to admit, even if the Lord bless you with the most beautiful wife, I mean, they're like, the Bible, they talk about Sarah being a fair woman to look upon. Those
most
men in
definitely.
the Bible probably had wives, but the Bible was true. She was a fair person to look upon. And then it talks about, I think, the sisters Rachel and Leah. One of them was kind of hard to look at, and the other one was not. So, I mean, it is what it is.
Well, now that you bring up Sarah, it's kind of funny you brought up Sarah, because when Abram went to Egypt, the Egyptian king was trying to
Right.
marry Sarah, but then God placed a
I
curse
remember
on
that.
her.
And he had to have her save his sister, or his sister, half sister, something, just to keep
Right?
from getting killed. Isn't that something?
That is something, and
Yeah.
that just goes to show you how God feels about adultery. And that guy,
hmm
when Abraham lied and said that we're going to say that you're my sister, that didn't work,
hmm
because
No,
because
it
Abraham
didn't.
because Abraham was scared that he was going to get killed because of how beautiful she was.
And she must have been a nice looking lady then. I have to say that for her.
I have to concur.
Yeah. There are some people in this world that just, God has made them really beautiful. There are some people just not as attractive. But what can we say? We're all made in the image of God. So how we come out, that's what we are. And Lord help
Exactly.
those of us that may not be that great.
Exactly. And in that regard, I think that things like that, because the conversation is kind of tilting to another sector of it,
Oh, I'm
and
sorry. I'm talking about
no, it's
fashion.
fine,
Right.
it's fine, it's fine. But that's not really the lane that we're going down. In regards to that, I mean, my feedback is I think some things just should be kept to oneself, because that is something that you can't really control. You can only control yourself. And that's why I feel like, when it comes to how you represent yourself, is only but so much we can do in holiness. But I think we all do have the understanding that, the clothing that we wear and how we, position certain things. Like Sister Virginia, she made a comment earlier, in support to what Christopher was saying, that he's absolutely right. At our sisters meeting, the mothers touched on too tight clothes, and it's not a fashion show. So that was something where, maybe this is where you take
Mhm.
modesty and it kind of dips into vanity, where you're kind of, I don't know, like you're being a little bit more vain in the way that you present yourself, in that regards. But it is everything has its place. And I think in modesty and in holiness, it can kind of get a little confusing, disencouraging to a sister that's trying to find
Mhm.
her light, trying to find her space, but then constantly being reminded to kind of like shrink yourself down to a box. And you can't, it depends on how you present yourself and how you do it. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it can kind of get a little,
Mhm.
it can kind of get very, very discouraging, when you're
Oh,
constantly being
man.
reminded of what you can't do, because the little that you do is, being judged, or you have to be responsible, or someone else is telling you, like, about problems that they deal with, regarding lust and whatnot. So I think that this has been a very, good conversation, and I think that
Mhm.
we'll, more than likely have another episode based on this. I think it would be great to kind of know, like, like where is the line between being modest but also having self-expression? The reason why I asked about the shorts, because when you're wearing clothing and you're dressing, and you're wearing a skirt that has movement, I don't want to just stand in front of a camera being plain Jane. I want to, kind of show the movement of the material and stuff like that. But then again, I am into fashion, so it's certain things that I would like to articulate through the screen to kind of keep the viewers engaged. But if a 30-second clip make you lust, then I think that's something you got to hit your knees to and pray to the Lord for. So with that being said, if Sister Paulette or Sister Davis has anything to say, you are more than welcome to say so. And Chris, I'm going to go ahead and remove you off of the panel. Good night.
Bye, Chris. My final
Hello.
thoughts. My final thoughts would be that, thank you, Sister Elvira, for allowing this, putting all this together for us. Come in, Data. At the end of the day, I just feel like it was definitely a must to have these types of conversation. And I just feel like, we need to talk about this a little bit more. So you should have a part two,
Mhm.
maybe three, maybe four. Start getting into a little bit more extra details because, like I mentioned earlier, we are having these situations where people is having these lustful scenarios. We have to stay covered up. We got to make sure that we're not showing much so that they do not get into their feelings or into their lustfulness. And it's hard as a woman when you're coming out of the world to be able to present yourself in a modest fashion and not to attract the guy. It's like we start out trying to attract the guy, and then all of a sudden you're going into this modest and holiness, and it's no longer you must not attract the guy. So you're putting on sheets and you're covering up and you're not showing skin hair, and you got blankets on the other side, and you can't show the toes, you can't show the heel, and you're gonna have onesie twosie out there that still needs to work on themselves. So that's what I was saying. We are here in holiness, and we are fighting the good fight to do dress appropriately, but then yet, it's gonna take a little minute before we get to the real nitty gritty of I don't need this, I don't need that, and accept that. But then we're fighting off not only our own emotions and feelings, we're fighting off the outsiders just looking at us and having situations, mental situations, you know, we can't help that part. We can only do what we're supposed to do at the end of the day, and that is to follow the guidelines to the best of our ability and pray for the brothers that just can't handle that process. But we have to go through that process. And, some is going to look and not feel or see anything. And some is going to look and they're going to be like, ooh, they're having a moment. I don't think that you should feel responsible for anything that you put out there or how you're dressed. You're dressed real beautiful. And I don't see nothing that, anybody should have a moment with, but they are having a moment with. So just I don't even know what else to say. Sis. All I can say is we can't do nothing else. Anything else we covered up, we're gonna be looking like, like a sausage in a bag. Like all but we're gonna have to tie everything up and God forbid, but it's hard. It's hard. We're not only fighting our own struggles, but we're fighting the outside, the male struggle, God forbid. And then they're trying their best to not look, but it's hard. It's hard. So let's continue having more of these videos on input so that we can help somebody, because I know whoever was on here got a lot of help. So for themselves, because they're worried about how we're dressing, but then they're having private struggles that they need to work on their knees, like Sister Elvira said. And with that, I just want to say thank you for allowing me this opportunity that I can come on here and we can just chit chat like all neighbors, girlfriends, and we just having a ball. Nobody was being all stiff. Everybody was just relaxed, calm, and we were just sharing from our perspective and how our journey is going. So thank you for that opportunity. I appreciate you here at Life with Paulette.
Thank you. Sister Davis?
Uh, Thank you for first of all allowing me to come on the platform on the live panel thing, and thank you for having this. This has been very enlightening. I've enjoyed everything I've heard and saw. I hope you do a part two, because one thing I want to ask you, is there a certain thing as far as appropriate for certain ages, like to wear certain outfits, like maybe that could be touched upon, or maybe you did and I just missed it. But is there like a age like this is too young for her to wear this? Because like I ain't gonna say how old, I ain't gonna say like I'm not 60, but I'm not far from 60. But I still want to dress like I'm like like an old mother. You know what I'm saying? Well, I shouldn't. Sorry. I'm gonna say I don't want to dress like an older person, but I still want to be like. Is there like a certain fashions like what I'm trying to say, Sister Elvira? Like, is there certain fashions for younger people that older people in their 50s shouldn't wear, or what I'm saying? So maybe that can be touched upon, and some ideas for
Yeah.
people that's appropriate, age appropriate outfits.
Yeah.
Without having to look like an old person. Forgive me for saying old person. I don't want to offend anybody, but
Yeah. No,
yeah, I want
that's
to
a
keep
good
it looking
conversation.
good.
Maybe we can come back and do like a age group fashions, like what are people in this
Yeah,
wearing today when it comes to modesty. But I also
yeah.
more so like, what's your style? What's your style? And finding that style and then shopping according to that. But yeah, that'll be a really good conversation. Thank you for that.
Thank you for having me. I'm going to release myself. And again, I've enjoyed everything. I'm going to go back and watch it from the beginning. But I got some nice tips. And please give me that thing for the Kim Kardashian thing about what you said about that. If you can either,
Oh, Skims.
text it
Yes.
to me or, whatever.
It's Skims.
And
It's
chemo
spelled
for you.
it's Skims. It's spelled like it's skin with a M. So it's SKIMS.
Oh,
Skims.
like
They
skim
have
milk. Okay.
yeah, they have really good quality shapewear. And to be honest, you
Oh,
can get dupes of that off of Amazon at first because you might, want to try see how the certain things fit or whatever before you pay the Skims price. But
okay.
overall, I did have some pieces from them for a shapewear to wear underneath my clothes. And that has helped out
Mm,
a lot. So yeah.
great. Great. Thank you so much for that.
You're welcome.
So I'm gonna go ahead and tip out and let you ladies finish it up and love you both and love everyone. God bless everyone in the chat.
You too. Thank you, Sister Davis.
Thank you, Sister Davis. God bless you too. So, sis, we did it.
Thank you. We did
We
it. We did
we
it.
did
We
it.
went.
Well, actually, you did it because this was your idea. So, kudos to you. And thank
Glory
you
to
for
God.
having me. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me on. I appreciate it. I'm going to just leave the panel for you now so you could do your final. But I
Okay.
really enjoy this, and we need more of this showing in holiness.
Yes. Thank you,
Good job,
sister.
sis. Good
Thank you,
job.
big sis. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. And you
Uh,
could boot me off when you're ready.
okay. Well, guys, that's all, folks. Thank you for being here. This was quite a good and informative live of us discussing modesty, modest fashion. We talked on a lot of topics. Today was episode 1. I just want to say thank you all for listening, staying here, for all of you that stayed from the beginning up until now, those that came in between. Shout out to all of the mods that came through and supported the channel by, just engaging in the content. And then shout out to all of you that are subscribed, all of you that continue to be with me on this journey. This journey is really, really hard. And sometimes, being a content creator and being in holiness and all the other things going on in the world, in your life, it can kind of get overwhelming. So, like I tell myself all the time, Elvira, you are doing your best. And I want to tell you guys that as well. You are doing your best. And no matter what you're going through or what feedback you get from the outside world, as long as you know you are doing your best and you're trying your best, that is what counts the most. So I love you all. Thank you so much for your beautiful messages, your kind words. Glory to God for all of this. Glory to God for all of this. And I'm just thankful. So I'm going to go ahead and close out the show. I might be back on Wednesday. I'm not sure, but I will definitely try to be back on Friday for sure. I love you guys. And as always, please keep me in your prayers. God bless.